The janitor's hands were shaking when he buckled his dying daughter into seat 14C. Across the aisle, the billionaire in the wheelchair saw what everyone else missed. The way his eyes kept darting to the cockpit. The way he whispered, "I'm sorry," like a man who'd buried too many ghosts. Then the engine screamed, metal tore, and 137 people learned the truth. Sometimes God hides angels in the last place you'd ever look, behind a mop bucket and a broke man's broken heart. Daddy, will it hurt when I die? Now I need you to understand something. Jack Dawson had answered a lot of hard questions in his 42 years on this earth. He'd answered questions from commanding officers about why his transport went down in Afghanistan. He'd answered questions from therapists about the nightmares. He'd answered questions from bill collectors about when they'd get their money. But this question from his 6-year-old daughter in the middle of Gate 12. At Charlotte Douglas International, this was the one that finally broke him. "Baby, you're not gonna die." Jack knelt down on that airport floor, his knees cracked, his janitor uniform, navy polyester name tag crooked, smelled like the elementary school bathrooms he'd cleaned that morning. "I promised you, remember." Emily looked up at him with those eyes, those old, knowing eyes that no child should have. 28 pounds of bird bones wrapped in a Moana t-shirt, 3 sizes too big because she kept losing weight. "But my heart does," she said. Simple, matter of fact, like she was telling him the sky was blue. "I heard Dr. Reynolds tell the nurse. He said it's getting weaker." Jack pulled her close, felt that stuttering heartbeat against his chest, that irregular rhythm that kept him awake every single night, counting the beats, praying they wouldn't stop. "Listen to me." He pulled back, cupped her small face in his rough hands, hands that used to fly F-16s. Now they pushed mops. "We're going to Boston. That specialist is going to help you. 3 weeks from now, you're going to be running around like nothing ever happened." Emily smiled. She knew he was lying. He knew she knew. But that's what love does. It lies to keep hope alive. "Mr. Dawson," the flight attendant appeared. Young, name tag said Jessica. "We're boarding Group 3. Jack stood, lifted Emily into his arms. His back screamed. Didn't matter. Nothing mattered except getting her to Boston, to the specialist, to the miracle he couldn't afford but was paying for anyway. They walked down the jetway. "Daddy, yeah, baby, and I'm scared of flying." And here's the thing that's going to break your heart. Here's the part that makes what happens next feel like God has a real sick sense of humor. Jack Dawson wasn't scared of flying. He was terrified of it. Because 5 years ago, Jack Dawson was the best pilot in the Air National Guard, instructor pilot, the guy who taught other guys how to stay alive in the sky, the guy who could land anything, anywhere, anytime, until Afghanistan, until Master Sergeant Robert Collins bled out in his arms while their transport went down in flames, until Jack realized that all his skill, all his training, all his prayers, none of it mattered when fate decided you were done. "It's the safest way to travel, baby," Jack said. "I promise." Another lie, but this one tasted different. This one tasted like it might come back to haunt him. Row 14, seats C and D. Jack settled Emily by the window. She liked clouds, said they looked like angel hair. Jack didn't have the heart to tell her she'd probably be joining those angels soon, unless the transplant list moved faster. He pulled out the iPad, queued up Moana. 47th time she'd watched it. He'd counted. "Mr. Dawson." He looked up. Different flight attendant now, older. Name tag read Patricia. Gray hair pulled back tight, grandmother eyes that saw too much. "Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to let you know." She glanced at Emily, then back to Jack. That look, that damn pity look he'd learned to hate. "If you need anything during the flight, anything at all, you press that call button." "Thank you. We've got extra blankets up front. Your daughter looks cold." Emily was always cold. Her circulation couldn't keep up. Her heart couldn't pump hard enough. Her body was shutting down 1 degree at a time. "I appreciate that," Jack said quietly. Patricia started to walk away, stopped, turned back. "You look familiar. Have you flown with us before?" Jack's jaw tightened. "Long time ago. Different life." She studied him, her eyes narrowed. "What's your first name?" "Jack." "Jack Dawson." She said it slow, like she was pulling a memory out of a file cabinet. "Air National Guard. I remember. You're on our—" "I don't fly anymore." Jack cut her off. "Hard, fast. Haven't touched a stick in 5 years. Patricia's face changed. Understanding flooded in. She'd heard the stories. Everyone in aviation had heard about Jack Dawson, the hero pilot who landed a burning C-130 in Kandahar and saved 18 men, the same pilot who lost 3 others, the same pilot who walked away from his wings and never looked back. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "I didn't mean to." "It's fine." It wasn't fine. Nothing about it was fine. Emily tugged his sleeve. "Why did you stop flying, Daddy?" "Grown-up stuff, baby." Was it because of the bad thing? Jack closed his eyes. 6 years old, and she could read him like a flight manual. "Yeah, because of the bad thing. Uncle Marcus says you were a hero. Uncle Marcus talks too much. He says you saved people. And I couldn't save the ones that mattered." The words came out like broken glass, sharp, cutting. Emily flinched. Jack immediately hated himself. He cupped her face. "I'm sorry. Daddy's just tired. Let's watch your movie." She nodded. Her eyes were wet. Jack wanted to punch the seat in front of him, wanted to scream, wanted to be anywhere but here. Now here's where the story gets interesting, because across that aisle in a custom wheelchair that cost more than Jack's annual salary sat a woman who was about to change everything. Charlotte Hale. You've heard of her. Everyone's heard of her. Tech billionaire, CEO of Hale Technologies, the woman who built an empire on ones and zeros and cold, calculated ambition. 3 years ago, she'd been on top of the world. Mercedes, mansions, magazine covers, then the car accident, the one that took her legs, the one her husband walked away from, both the crash and the marriage. And this morning, her board of directors voted her out of her own company. The Hale Storm scandal, they were calling it. Data mining, privacy violations. 3 billion users, lawsuits stacking up like bodies. Charlotte Hale was running to her estate in the Berkshires because facing consequences required courage. She'd lost somewhere between her 3rd billion and her last shred of humanity. "Ms. Hale." Her assistant Trevor leaned in from 2 rows back. 25 years old, nervous energy. "Do you need anything? Your medication water." "I need everyone to stop asking me what I need," Charlotte snapped. Trevor flinched. She hated that. Hated that she'd become the kind of person who made young men flinch. "I'm sorry." Softer now. "Just give me space." He retreated. Charlotte sat in her wheelchair, alone, trapped, not just by the carbon fiber and crushed dreams beneath her, but by the weight of everything she'd become. And that's when she heard it. "Daddy, the pretty lady looks sad." Charlotte's head turned. The little girl across the aisle, the dying one with the oxygen-starved lips and the too big Moana shirt. She was looking right at Charlotte. The janitor, Jack, put his hand on his daughter's arm. "Emily, don't—" "But she is sad, Daddy. Look at her eyes." Charlotte Hale, woman who'd faced down Wall Street sharks and Silicon Valley wolves, felt something crack inside her chest. This child saw her, really saw her. Not the wheelchair, not the scandal, not the billion-dollar failure, just the sadness. "It's okay," Charlotte said. Her voice came out rough, unused. "You're right, I am sad." Emily smiled. "That's okay. Daddy's sad, too. I hear him cry sometimes when he thinks I'm sleeping." "Emily," Jack's face burned red. "It's true. You go in the bathroom and turn the water on real loud, but I can still hear you." Charlotte felt tears sting her eyes. When was the last time she'd cried? The accident, the divorce. Or had she lost the ability somewhere along the way? Emily reached across the aisle. Her small hand patted Charlotte's. Dr. Reynolds says crying helps the sad go away. Maybe you need to let some sad go away. And Charlotte Hale broke. Not a sob, not a wail, just silent tears streaming down her face. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for seeing me." Jack didn't know what to say. His 6-year-old daughter had just done something impossible, cracked open a Billionaire with nothing but honesty. But before anyone could respond, Charlotte's phone buzzed. She glanced at it. Her face went white. "Excuse me," she said. Charlotte answered the call, held the phone to her ear. "Charlotte Hale." "Ms. Hale, this is David Chen, your attorney." "I know who you are, David. What is it?" "The board filed paperwork an hour ago. They're freezing your assets pending investigation. Your accounts, your properties, everything." Charlotte's hand tightened on the phone. "They can't do that." "They can, and they did." "I'm sorry, Charlotte. This is worse than we thought. The SEC is involved now. There's talk of criminal charges." Criminal charges. Charlotte had spent 3 years in a wheelchair. But this was real paralysis. This was the moment she realized she couldn't run, couldn't hide, couldn't buy her way out. "How long do I have? Before what?" "Before they come for me." Silence on the line, then days, maybe less. Charlotte hung up, stared at nothing. Everything she'd built, everything she'd sacrificed, gone. And sitting across from her was a janitor and his dying daughter, a man who'd lost everything too, a man who kept going anyway because love demanded it. Charlotte looked at Emily, at Jack, at 2 people who had nothing except each other, and she wondered when she'd stopped being human. 20 minutes later they were airborne. The plane climbed. Jack kept Emily distracted, pointed out the window, made up stories about the clouds being cotton candy factories in heaven, anything to keep her mind off the pressure in her chest. Her lips were turning blue. Jack saw it, the oxygen levels dropping. Should have brought the concentrator. Should have done 100 things differently. "Daddy, my chest hurts." Jack's hand hit the call button. Patricia appeared within seconds. "What's wrong?" "My daughter, she has a heart condition. She's having trouble breathing." Patricia dropped to her knees. Professional, efficient. "Emily, honey, can you tell me where it hurts?" Emily pointed to her chest, tears streaming. "It feels tight, like someone's sitting on me." Jack felt panic flood his veins. This was different. This wasn't the usual discomfort. This was, "I need oxygen," Patricia said. She looked at Jack. Her eyes said what her mouth wouldn't. "This is bad." "Get it," Jack said. "Now." Patricia moved fast. Oxygen mask, portable tank. Emily's breathing stabilized, but her color stayed wrong. "Should we turn around?" Patricia asked quietly. Emily grabbed Jack's hand. "Don't let them land because of me. I'll be okay. I promise, Daddy." His brave girl. His impossibly brave girl who was willing to die rather than inconvenience a plane full of strangers. "We're continuing to Boston," Patricia decided, "but I'm monitoring her every 5 minutes. Okay, Mr. Dawson." What choice did he have? Okay. After Patricia left, a voice came from across the aisle. "Is she all right?" Charlotte, looking at them with something like fear, something like care. "She'll be fine," Jack said, curt, defensive. "Thanks for asking. I have a medical team on retainer. When we land, we don't need your charity." It came out harsher than he meant, but Jack Dawson had pride. It was all he had left besides Emily. Charlotte's face shifted. It wasn't charity, it was human decency, or an attempt at it. Jack felt like an asshole. "Look, I'm sorry, I didn't mean—" "No, you did mean it." Charlotte looked down at her legs. "And you're right to. I'm not exactly known for my humanity these days." Before Jack could respond, a man's voice cut through the cabin. Jack Dawson." Jack turned, 3 rows back, aisle seat. A man in his 50s, gray hair, military bearing, wearing a veteran's cap. "Vietnam." "Yeah," Jack said. The man stood, walked forward, extended his hand. "Jim Reeves, Army, retired." I heard about what you did in Kandahar. That C-130 landing saved 18 boys. Jack's stomach dropped. That was a long time ago. Heroes don't have expiration dates, son. Jim smiled. My grandson was one of those 18, PFC Marcus Reeves. You brought him home to us. I just wanted to say thank you. The cabin went quiet. Other passengers were listening now, watching. Jack shook Jim's hand. I was just doing my job. Bullshit. Jim's smile faded. You landed a burning plane with 3 dead engines in a sandstorm. That ain't just a job. That's God working through you. Jack felt every eye on him, felt the weight of expectations he'd been running from for 5 years. I appreciate that, sir, but I'm not that man anymore. Maybe not. Jim looked him dead in the eye. But that man's still in there somewhere, and when the time comes, and it always comes, he'll show up again. Jim walked back to his seat. Jack sat down. His hands were shaking. Emily looked up at him. You really did that. Daddy saved 18 people. I tried to save 21, Jack said quietly. 3 of them didn't make it, but 18 did. That's good, right? Out of the mouths of babes. Yeah, baby, that's good. Now here's what you need to understand about guilt. Real guilt. The kind that eats you alive. It doesn't care about the 18 you saved. It only remembers the 3 you lost. For Jack, those 3 had names. Master Sergeant Robert Collins, 28 years old, 2 kids back home, bled out from shrapnel while Jack tried to stop the bleeding with his bare hands. Corporal Anthony Martinez, 22, engaged, neck broken on impact, died instantly. Maybe the lucky one, Lieutenant Sarah Chen, 31, pilot, Jack's co-pilot, trapped in the wreckage, burned alive while Jack pulled others to safety. He could still hear her screaming. For 5 years, Jack had heard her screaming, in his sleep, in the shower, in the quiet moments when Emily was at school and he was alone with a bottle and his thoughts. That's why he quit flying. Not because he was scared of dying, because he was scared of failing again, scared of hearing more screams, more names added to the list of people he couldn't save. And now he was on a plane at 35,000 feet with his dying daughter and 135 strangers. And God had a real sick sense of humor. The plane hit cruising altitude, the seatbelt sign dinged off, flight attendants began meal service. Charlotte's phone buzzed again. She ignored it, watched Jack instead. Watched him check Emily's breathing every 30 seconds. Watched him pray when he thought no one was looking, just his lips moving. Silent words to a God who may or may not have been listening. Charlotte hadn't prayed in years, hadn't believed in anything except algorithms and profit margins and the cold comfort of control. But watching this broken janitor whisper prayers over his dying daughter, Charlotte felt something stir, something she thought her wheelchair had killed. Faith. Or maybe just the memory of it. Her phone buzzed again. She looked. Text from her ex-husband saw the news. You got what you deserved. Charlotte's hands trembled. She wanted to throw the phone, wanted to scream, wanted to pretty lady, Emily's voice. Small, gentle. Are you okay? Charlotte looked up. The child was staring at her with those wise, dying eyes. No, Charlotte said honestly. I'm not okay. That's okay. Daddy says it's okay to not be okay sometimes. Your daddy's very smart. He's sad too, but he keeps going. For me. Charlotte felt tears coming again. You love him very much. More than anything, Emily smiled. Even more than Moana, and I really love Moana. Despite everything, Charlotte laughed. Actually laughed. When was the last time she'd done that? Can I tell you a secret? Emily whispered. Of course. I'm scared I'm gonna die before we get to Boston. Charlotte's breath caught. Oh, sweetie. But I don't tell Daddy because it makes him sadder, so I just pretend I'm brave. You are brave. No. Emily shook her head. Brave is when you're not scared. I'm really scared. I just don't show it. Charlotte reached across the aisle, took the child's small hand in hers. Then you're not brave. You're courageous, and that's even better. What's the difference? Brave people aren't afraid. Courageous people are terrified, but they do it anyway. Emily thought about this, nodded. Are you courageous? Charlotte almost laughed. Almost. No, baby, I'm just a coward in a wheelchair. I don't think so. I think you're just scared too, like me. And there it was. Truth from a 6-year-old. Charlotte Hale had conquered boardrooms and markets and built an empire, but she'd done it all from a place of fear. Fear of failure, fear of not being enough, fear of being forgotten. And now she had nothing. No company, no money, no legs, no future, just fear. You're right, Charlotte whispered. I'm very scared. That's okay. Daddy says God uses scared people to do big things because scared people know they can't do it alone. Before Charlotte could respond, the plane shuddered. Just a bump, turbulence, normal, except Jack's whole body went rigid. His military instincts kicked in before his brain caught up. That shudder, the frequency, the duration, that wasn't turbulence, that was mechanical failure. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We're experiencing some minor technical difficulties. Nothing to be concerned about. Flight attendants, please remain seated for now. Minor technical difficulties. Bullshit. Jack knew aircraft systems like he knew his daughter's heartbeat, and that shudder, that was catastrophic. The cabin lights flickered. Passengers murmured nervous laughter. Someone made a joke about haunted planes. Jack wasn't laughing. He watched the wings through the window, watched the engine nacelles, looking for smoke, for fire, for visual confirmation of what his gut already knew. Then he heard it, the sound, that god-awful sound every pilot prays they never hear, the engines changing pitch, deepening, becoming something wrong. Charlotte noticed Jack's face. What is it? Nothing. But his hands were gripping the armrests, white knuckle tight. You're lying. I'm protecting my daughter. The intercom crackled again. This is Captain Morrison. All flight attendants take your seats immediately. Passengers, please return to your seats and fasten your seatbelts. We are declaring an emergency. The cabin erupted. Screams, crying, praying. Emily grabbed Jack's hand. Daddy. It's okay, baby. But it wasn't okay. The lights went out completely. Emergency lighting kicked in, red, eerie, like the inside of hell. And then the engine noise changed again, stopped. Complete silence except for the wind and the screaming. Both engines were gone. Jack knew it in his bones, knew it in every part of him that had spent 12 years in cockpits. They were falling, 35,000 feet, no power, no engines, no chance. Patricia stumbled down the aisle, grabbing seats for balance. She looked at Jack. Her face was white, terrified. Mr. Dawson, both engines. Jack cut her off. How did you? I'm a pilot, was a pilot. How long do we have? Patricia's voice broke. The captain says maybe 7 minutes, maybe less. He's trying to restart, but they won't restart. Not from a dual flameout at this altitude. What do we do? Jack looked at his daughter, at Emily, at the only thing in this world that mattered. And he made a decision. Tell the captain, Jack said slowly, that if he needs help, I'm available. Patricia stared at him. You can fly this. I can try. That's not good enough. It's all I've got. The plane dropped. Not gradual. Dropped. Like God had cut the strings. People screamed. Luggage broke free from overheads. Chaos. Patricia grabbed Jack's shoulder. The captain's asking for you. Now. Jack looked at Charlotte. Can you? I'll protect her with my life, Charlotte said. And Jack saw truth in her eyes. Certainty. He kissed Emily's forehead. Daddy has to go help the pilots, baby. Are we gonna die? Jack cupped her face, looked into those beautiful, terrified eyes, and for the first time in years, he told her the absolute truth. Not if I can help it. Jack stood. Every step toward the cockpit felt like walking through water, through time, through every nightmare he'd had for 5 years. Jim Reeves, the Vietnam vet, stood as Jack passed, put his hand on Jack's shoulder. Go save us, son. Other passengers were watching now, some crying, some praying, some just staring at the janitor in the cheap uniform walking toward the front of the plane like he was walking to his execution. Maybe he was. The cockpit door was open. Captain Morrison looked back. 50-something, gray hair, eyes that had seen a lot but nothing like this. "You Jack Dawson?" "Yes, sir." "Patricia says you're Air National Guard, instructor pilot." "Was 5 years ago, haven't touched a stick since." "Can you fly this aircraft?" Jack looked at the instrument panel, at the dead engines, at the artificial horizon showing their descent rate, at the math that said they had maybe 6 minutes to live, at the co-pilot slumped in her seat, unconscious, hyperventilating into an oxygen mask. "I don't know," Jack said honestly. "That's not good enough. It's all I've got." Morrison's laugh was bitter, broken. "Then get in here, because I've got 137 souls on this plane, no engines, and no fucking clue how to land this thing without power." Jack slid into the co-pilot seat. His hands found the controls, and it was like coming home to a house that had burned down. Everything was familiar. Everything was wrong. The yoke, the rudder pedals, the instrument panel, all the same, all different. Because Jack Dawson wasn't the same man who'd flown 5 years ago. That man had been confident, certain, unbroken. This man was held together with duct tape and regret. "Talk to me, Dawson," Morrison said. His voice was steady, but Jack heard the tremor underneath. The fear. "What do we got?" Jack scanned the instruments. Airspeed, altitude, rate of descent, wind, weather. His brain shifted into pilot mode, calculations. Vectors, probabilities. "We're at 33,000 feet, descending at 200 feet per minute. No engines means no restart. We're a glider now. Can we make Charlotte Douglas?" "No, we're too far out, too heavy, wrong angle." "Then where?" Jack pulled up the navigation display. Airports in range, Greensboro, Piedmont Triad, maybe. If they caught the wind right, if they dumped fuel. If God decided to give them one single break. "Greensboro," Jack said. "Piedmont Triad, it's our only shot." Morrison keyed the radio. "Greensboro Tower, this is American 227. We are declaring an emergency. Dual engine failure, requesting immediate clearance for emergency landing." Static, then a voice. "American 227, say again. Dual engine failure, no power. We are a glider, requesting emergency clearance." Silence on the radio. Then, "American 227, we need to verify your credentials. Who is in command of that aircraft?" Morrison looked at Jack. "You got a license." "Not anymore. They pulled it after Afghanistan." "Jesus Christ." Jack grabbed the radio. "Greensboro Tower, this is Jack Dawson, former Air National Guard instructor pilot, service number 4427 Delta Charlie. I am assisting Captain Morrison with emergency landing procedures." More silence. Then a different voice, female, sharp, familiar. Jack Dawson." Jack's blood froze. He knew that voice. "This is Commander Sarah Lynn, Air National Guard. I'm coordinating with Greensboro Tower. Jack, is that really you?" Sarah Lynn, his old squadron commander, the woman who'd fought to keep his wings after Afghanistan, the woman who'd visited him in the psych ward when no one else would. "Yeah, Sarah, it's me." "What's your situation?" "Dual flameout at 31,000 feet, full passenger load, attempting dead stick glide to Piedmont Triad. Can you make it?" Jack did the math. Wind speed, glide ratio, distance to runway. Maybe, if everything goes perfect. And when does everything ever go perfect? Despite everything, Jack almost smiled. Never. Then make it imperfect but survivable. You hear me, Jack? Bring those people home. I'm gonna try? Don't try and do, that's an order. You can't give me orders, Sarah. I'm not in the guard anymore. Then consider it a request from an old friend. Bring them home, Jack. Bring yourself home. The radio clicked off. Morrison looked at Jack. She sounds like she believes in you. She's the only one who does. You believe in yourself. Jack looked out the windscreen, at the sky, at the earth coming up fast. at the impossible task ahead, at the daughter sitting 3 rows back who needed him to be the man he used to be. I'm about to find out. In the cabin, Emily looked at Charlotte. Is my daddy gonna save us? Charlotte thought about lying, about offering false comfort, but this child deserved truth. I don't know, sweetheart, but I know he's going to try. And sometimes that's all we can do. Emily nodded, wise beyond her years. That's what he tells me about my heart, that we just keep trying, even when it's scary. Your daddy's very smart. Do you think God's listening? Charlotte looked at this dying child with the oxygen mask and the 2 knowing eyes. Yeah, she whispered. Yeah, I think he is. Then we should pray. Charlotte hadn't prayed in years, hadn't believed in anything except numbers and margins and the cold comfort of control. But she took Emily's hand, and for the first time since the accident that stole her legs, Charlotte Hale bowed her head. Dear God, Emily started, please help my daddy. He's really scared, but he's trying anyway. And please help all these people. And please help the pretty lady find her way home, too. Amen. Charlotte's tears fell freely now. Amen. Around them, other passengers were praying too, Catholics crossing themselves, Muslims facing east, Jews whispering ancient prayers, atheists hedging their bets. Because when a plane is falling out of the sky, everyone believes in something. In the cockpit, Jack's hands moved across the controls with muscle memory he'd thought he'd lost. Talk to me about our approach, Morrison said. What do we need? Everything, Jack said. We need perfect wind, perfect angle, perfect execution, and even then, our odds are maybe 30%. Those are shit odds. Those are the only odds we've got. Jack keyed the intercom. His voice went through the entire cabin. Calm, steady, the voice of a man who'd done this before. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jack Dawson. I'm assisting the captain with landing procedures. We've lost both engines, but we still have control of the aircraft. We're going to attempt a landing at Greensboro. I need everyone to listen carefully to the flight attendants and assume brace positions when instructed. We're going to get through this. Stay calm. Stay focused. We're bringing everyone home. He clicked off. Morrison stared at him. You sound like you believe that. I have to. My daughter's on this plane. What's her name? Emily. How old? 6. What's wrong with her? Jack's voice cracked. She's dying. Congenital heart defect. We're flying to Boston to see a specialist. Last chance. Morrison was quiet for a moment. Then let's make sure she gets there. How? By being better than perfect. By being something those odds don't account for. What's that? Morrison looked at Jack. Really looked at him. Desperate fathers with everything to lose. And Jack Dawson, janitor, broken pilot, father of a dying child, felt something shift inside him. Not confidence, not certainty. Something better. Purpose. All right, Jack said. Let's fly this thing. The plane fell through the sky, and in the cockpit, 2 men who'd never met before today became brothers. Because that's what happens when you're falling. You either fall alone or you fall together. The artificial horizon showed their descent rate accelerating. 27,000 feet, 26,000, 25,000. Jack's hands moved instinctively, adjusting pitch, managing airspeed, fighting physics with geometry and prayer. How far to Greensboro? Morrison asked. Jack checked the navigation. 42 miles, current altitude 24,000 feet, current descent rate 100 feet per minute. Morrison did the math. We won't make it. Not at this rate. We need to extend our glide. How? By being smarter than the plane. Jack adjusted their pitch. Shallower, trading altitude for distance, stretching every foot of air beneath them. The plane responded, sluggish, heavy, but responding. 23,000 feet. Greensboro Tower, American 227, Jack called. We need runway 5, left clear, full emergency response, crash trucks, ambulances, everything. Copy that 227. Runway 5 left is being cleared. All other aircraft are being diverted. You have the field. Roger, ETA 12 minutes. 12 minutes, 720 seconds, between here and hell. Jack glanced at the fuel gauges, still showing partial fuel in the tanks. Unusable without engines, but still adding weight. We need to dump fuel, Jack said. Fuel dump system requires engine power. Of course it does. So they were flying heavy, gravity's favorite target, 22,000 feet. Morrison's hands were shaking on the yoke. Jack saw it, recognized it, the adrenaline crash, the realization setting in. Captain, Jack said quietly, I need you focused. I am focused. No, you're panicking. I can see it. I've been there. You need to breathe. How the hell am I supposed to breathe when... Because those people behind us need us calm. My daughter needs us calm, so breathe. Morrison took a shaky breath, then another. How do you stay so calm? I'm not calm, I'm terrified. But terror and calm can exist in the same space if you let them. Where'd you learn that? Afghanistan, when Master Sergeant Collins died in my arms. 20,000 feet. The ground was visible now. Cities, roads, the patchwork of civilization. And somewhere down there, a runway. Their only chance. Jack's mind raced through scenarios. Approach angle, airspeed, touchdown point, stopping distance without thrust reversers. Every calculation ended the same way. This was impossible, but impossible had never stopped desperate fathers before. Greensboro Tower, American 227, beginning our approach. Roger, 227, winds are 270 at 8 knots, visibility 10 miles. You are cleared for emergency landing, runway 5 left. Jack looked at Morrison. Ready? No. Me neither. 18,000 feet. In the cabin, Patricia's voice came over the intercom, calm, professional, brave. Ladies and gentlemen, we are beginning our approach. Please assume brace positions now. Place your head down, grab your ankles, brace for impact. People were crying, praying, saying goodbye to loved ones on phones. Emily looked at Charlotte. Pretty lady. Yes, sweetie. If we die, will you tell my daddy I wasn't scared? Charlotte's heart shattered. We're not going to die. But if we do, which we won't, I'll tell him you were the bravest person I ever met. Emily smiled. Okay. She put her head down, grabbed her ankles, and Charlotte Hale, billionaire CEO woman who'd conquered the world and lost her soul, put her head down too, and prayed to a god she'd forgotten. 15,000 feet. The runway was in sight now, a gray strip in the distance. Jack lined up their approach. Wind from the west, slight crosswind, manageable. Airspeed, Morrison asked. 185 knots, descending through 14,000. Glide path, shallow but stable. We're gonna make it to the runway. That's the easy part. Yeah. The hard part was landing, stopping, keeping 137 souls alive, 12,000 feet. Jack's hands moved across the controls, adjustments, micro-corrections, fighting wind, fighting gravity, fighting fate. Deploy speed brakes, Jack said. Morrison hit the controls. Nothing happened. Speed brakes require hydraulic pressure, which requires engines, which we don't have. So they were coming in fast, hot, with no way to slow down except the runway itself. 10,000 feet. Landing gear, Morrison said. When do we deploy? Last possible second. The drag will kill our glide. How last? Trust me, last. Morrison looked at him. I'm trusting a janitor who hasn't flown in 5 years to land a plane with no engines. You got a better option? No. Then trust the janitor. 8,000 feet. The runway was clear. Emergency vehicles lined both sides. Lights flashing. Waiting for a miracle or a massacre. Jack keyed the intercom one more time. Folks, this is Jack Dawson again. We're on final approach. Stay in brace position. This is going to be rough, but we're going to make it. Just stay calm. We're almost home. He clicked off. Morrison looked at him. You really believe that? I have to. 6,000 feet. Jack adjusted their angle, shallower, stretching every foot, 5,000 feet. Landing gear now, Morrison said. We have to. Not yet. Jack, not yet. 4,000 feet. Their airspeed was too high, their angle too steep, everything wrong. 3,000 feet. Landing gear now, Morrison screamed. Not 2,000 feet. Now. Jack slammed the landing gear lever. Metal screamed. Hydraulics groaned. The gear deployed. Drag hit them like a wall. The nose pitched down. The runway rushed up. 1,000 feet. Pull up, pull up. The automated voice in the cockpit screamed. Jack hauled back on the yoke. Fighting. 500 feet. The runway filled the windscreen. 400 feet. We're too fast, Morrison yelled. I know. 300 feet. Emily's face flashed in Jack's mind. Daddy's promises don't break. 200 feet. Jack whispered one word. Please. 100 feet. Contact. Metal met earth. The main gear hit first, screaming, sparking. The plane bounced, came down again, harder. Nose gear collapsed. The nose hit the runway, grinding, shrieking. People screamed. Jack fought the controls, kept them straight, kept them alive. Runway lights flashed past. Emergency vehicles chasing them. No brakes, no thrust reversers. Nothing but friction and prayer. The plane skidded, shuddered, slowing, and then stopped. Complete silence. For 3 seconds, nobody moved. Then cheers, crying, praying, living. Jack slumped in his seat. His hands were shaking so hard he couldn't hold the yoke. Morrison looked at him, tears streaming down his face. You did it. You crazy son of a bitch, you did it. Jack couldn't speak because all he could think about was Emily. He was out of his seat, running through the cockpit door, down the aisle. People were standing, crying, hugging, alive. Jack didn't see them. He saw seat 14C. Emily, unbuckling, standing, running to him. Jack dropped to his knees, caught her, held her. And Jack Dawson, hero father, broken man who'd just done the impossible, wept. Daddy, you saved us. I saved you, he whispered. That's all that matters. I saved you. Charlotte watched from her wheelchair, tears streaming. Patricia came up beside her. That man just landed a plane with no engines. No, Charlotte said softly. That man just landed for love. And in that moment, Charlotte Hale understood something she'd forgotten. Money couldn't buy what she just witnessed. Power couldn't create it. Success couldn't earn it. Only love could do the impossible. The emergency slides deployed with a hiss that sounded like the world exhaling. Jack still held Emily on the tarmac, his knees on the concrete, her small body pressed against his chest. Around them, passengers poured out of the plane, some running, some crawling, some just standing there in shock, staring at the metal tomb they'd just escaped. Fire trucks surrounded the aircraft. Paramedics rushed forward. News helicopters circled overhead like vultures. Jack didn't see any of it. He only saw his daughter, alive, breathing, heart still beating that irregular rhythm against his. Mr. Dawson, a paramedic knelt beside them, young, maybe 25. Name tag said Rodriguez. Sir, we need to check you both out. Jack looked up. His eyes were red, wet. My daughter has a heart condition. She needs oxygen. Her levels were dropping before. We've got it. Come on, let's get you both to the ambulance. Rodriguez tried to take Emily. Jack's arms tightened. Sir, I promise we'll take care of her, but we need to move, now. Jack forced himself to let go. Watched Rodriguez carry Emily toward the nearest ambulance. Watched her disappear into the back. Watched the doors close. And something inside Jack broke all over again. He'd saved 137 people, but he still couldn't save her. Jack. Morrison appeared, his uniform soaked with sweat, his face pale. Jack, we need to get you checked out. You're in shock. I'm fine. You're not fine. You just landed I said I'm fine. It came out harsh, angry. Morrison stepped back. Jack immediately hated himself. I'm sorry, Captain. I just need to be with my daughter. I understand, but the FAA is here, NTSB. They're going to want statements. They're going to want to know how a janitor with no current license just landed a commercial aircraft. The words hit Jack like fists. How a janitor with no current license, that's what he was, not a hero, not a pilot. A janitor who'd broken about 40 different federal regulations in the last 20 minutes. Let them come, Jack said quietly. I'll tell them whatever they want to know. Morrison grabbed Jack's shoulder. Listen to me. What you did up there, that was impossible. You saved every soul on that plane. Don't let the bureaucrats turn this into something else. What else could it be? I flew without a license. I took command of an aircraft I wasn't rated for. You saved my life, Morrison said. His voice cracked. You saved 136 other lives. That's what matters. Before Jack could respond, a woman's voice cut through the chaos. Jack Dawson. Jack turned. 3 people in dark suits, 2 men, 1 woman. The woman stepped forward, 40-something, sharp eyes, FBI, written all over her. I'm Agent Lisa Martinez, NTSB. I need you to come with me. My daughter is being taken care of. This won't take long. We just need your statement. It wasn't a request. Jack looked at Morrison. Morrison nodded. Go, I'll make sure Emily's okay. Jack followed Agent Martinez across the tarmac, away from the plane, away from the cameras, into a mobile command unit that smelled like coffee and suspicion. Inside, 2 more suits waited. One of them looked up from a laptop. Jack Dawson, former Air National Guard, instructor pilot. Discharged 5 years ago after the Kandahar incident. License revoked. Currently employed as a janitor at Oakwood Elementary. The man looked up. That about right? Yes, sir. I'm Special Agent Thomas Reed, FAA. This is my colleague, Agent Sarah Kim. We need to understand what happened up there. Jack sat down. His hands were still shaking. What do you want to know? Everything, starting with why you were in that cockpit. So Jack told them. The engine failure, Patricia recognizing him, Captain Morrison's request for help, the decision to attempt Greensboro. Reed took notes. Kim recorded everything on her phone. When Jack finished, Reed leaned back. You understand you violated multiple federal aviation regulations. Yes, sir. You operated a commercial aircraft without proper certification. You assumed command without authorization. I saved 137 lives, Jack said. His voice was steady, cold. You want to arrest me for that? Go ahead. But my daughter's in that ambulance and I'd like to be with her. Reed and Martinez exchanged looks. Nobody's arresting anyone, Martinez said. We're just trying to understand what happened. What happened is both engines failed. The pilots needed help. I helped. That's it. How did both engines fail? Kim asked. Dual engine failure is almost impossible. Almost, Jack said, but not completely. You'll find out when you tear that plane apart. Maybe bird strike, maybe fuel contamination, maybe metal fatigue. I don't know. I just know they were dead and we were falling. Reed closed his laptop. We're going to need you to stay in the area. Don't leave Greensboro. I'm not leaving without my daughter anyway. She needs to get to Boston, to a specialist. Martinez's expression softened. What's wrong with her? Congenital heart defect. She's on the transplant list. We were flying to Boston to see her last chance. The room went quiet. Finally, Reed stood. We'll be in touch. For now, go be with your daughter. Jack didn't wait. He was out the door before Reed finished speaking. Outside, the sun was setting. The plane sat on the runway like a beached whale. Investigators swarmed it. Cameras surrounded it. The world was already spinning this into something Jack didn't recognize. He found the ambulance. Emily was inside, oxygen mask on, vitals being monitored. She saw him and smiled. Daddy. Jack climbed in, took her hand. How you feeling, baby? Tired, but okay. The nice man said my oxygen is better now. Rodriguez nodded. She's stable, but we need to transport to Moses Cone Hospital. Get her checked out properly. Can I ride with her? Of course. Jack settled beside Emily, held her hand, watched the paramedics work, and for the first time since the plane hit the ground, he let himself breathe. Then his phone buzzed. 17 missed calls, 32 texts, all from the same person, Marcus, his brother. Jack answered. Jack, oh my God, Jack, I saw the news. Are you okay? Is Emily okay? What the hell happened? We're fine, Marcus. We're both fine. Fine, you just landed a plane with no engines. It's all over the news. They're calling you a hero. Jack looked out the ambulance window, at the news crews, the helicopters, the circus. I'm not a hero, Jack said quietly. I'm just a dad who got lucky. Lucky, Jack, you did the impossible. Marcus, I need you to do something for me. Anything. Call Boston. Tell Dr. Reynolds what happened. Tell him we're delayed, but we're still coming. Emily still needs that appointment. Jack, promise me. Marcus was quiet for a moment. I promise. But Jack, you need to understand something. What you did today, that changes everything. Nothing changes. I'm still a janitor. Emily's still dying. We still need that transplant. I'll make the calls, Marcus said. Then softer, I'm proud of you, brother. Jack hung up. Emily tugged his hand. Daddy, are you a hero? No, baby, I'm just your dad. The pretty lady said you were a hero. Jack looked up. Through the ambulance window, he saw Charlotte, still in her wheelchair, being loaded into another ambulance. She caught his eye, mouthed 2 words, thank you. Jack nodded. The ambulances pulled away, sirens wailing, taking the survivors to safety, and behind them the plane sat silent on the runway, a testament to the impossible, or maybe just proof that desperate fathers could bend physics when love demanded it. Moses Cone Hospital was chaos. The ER had been prepped for mass casualties. Trauma teams waiting, operating rooms cleared, but the casualties that arrived were mostly minor. Cuts, bruises, shock, a few broken bones from the hard landing. Nothing catastrophic, nothing that required body bags. Emily was taken immediately to pediatric cardiology. Jack tried to follow, but a nurse stopped him. Sir, you need to get checked out too. I'm fine. Sir, I said I'm fine. The nurse stepped back. Jack saw fear in her eyes, saw himself through her perspective. A man covered in sweat, hands shaking, eyes wild. I'm sorry, Jack said. His voice broke. I'm sorry. I just need to be with my daughter. The nurse's expression softened. I understand, but she's in good hands. Let us check you out. 5 minutes. Then you can see her. Jack wanted to argue, wanted to push past, but his body made the decision for him. His legs gave out. He hit the floor, and the world went black. When Jack woke up, he was in a hospital bed, IV in his arm, heart monitor beeping, curtains drawn around him. He sat up, too fast. The room spun. Easy. A doctor appeared, older, gray beard, kind eyes. You passed out from exhaustion and dehydration. You're lucky that's all it was. Where's my daughter? She's fine, being evaluated by Dr. Chen in pediatric cardiology, but she's stable. Jack tried to get out of bed. The doctor put a hand on his shoulder. Mr. Dawson, you need to rest. You just went through severe trauma. Your body needs... My body needs to be with my daughter. The doctor studied him, then nodded. All right, but you're keeping that IV in, and if you feel dizzy, you sit down. Understood? Yes, sir. The doctor helped Jack stand, led him down the hallway, past rooms full of passengers from Flight 227, some sleeping, some talking to loved ones, some just staring at the ceiling in shock. Jim Reeves, the Vietnam vet, saw Jack passing, raised his hand in salute. Jack nodded back. They reached pediatric cardiology. Emily was in a private room. Dr. Chen, a woman in her 50s with gentle hands, was examining her. Emily saw Jack. Daddy. Jack crossed to her, kissed her forehead. How you doing, baby? Dr. Chen says my heart is being stubborn. Dr. Chen smiled. That's one way to put it. Mr. Dawson, can I speak with you outside? Jack's stomach dropped. Whatever you need to say, you can say in front of Emily. Dr. Chen hesitated, then nodded. Your daughter's heart is under severe stress. The flight, the crash landing, the emotional trauma, it's all taken a toll. Her ejection fraction is down to 15%. What does that mean? It means her heart is barely pumping enough blood to keep her alive. She needs that transplant soon. We're going to Boston to see Dr. Reynolds. I spoke with Dr. Reynolds. He's arranged for a medical transport tomorrow. But Mr. Dawson, Dr. Chen's voice dropped. You need to prepare yourself. Emily's window is closing. If we don't find a donor in the next few weeks... She didn't finish. She didn't have to. Jack looked at Emily, his brave, beautiful daughter who'd already fought harder than any child should have to. We're not giving up, Jack said. Right, Emily? Emily smiled. Right, Daddy. But Jack saw the fear in her eyes, the knowing. She understood better than he wanted to admit. Dr. Chen left them alone. Jack sat beside Emily's bed, held her hand, tried to think of something to say that wasn't a lie. Nothing came. A knock on the door saved him. Charlotte appeared, still in her wheelchair, face cleaned up but eyes red from crying. Trevor, her assistant, pushed her into the room. I hope I'm not intruding, Charlotte said. I just wanted to check on you both. Emily's face lit up. Pretty lady, you're okay. Thanks to your father. Charlotte looked at Jack. Can we talk? Just for a moment? Jack glanced at Emily. She nodded. It's okay, Daddy. I'm sleepy anyway. Emily closed her eyes. Within seconds, she was asleep, the exhaustion finally catching up. Jack stepped into the hallway with Charlotte. Trevor gave them privacy. How is she? Charlotte asked. Dying faster now. The stress accelerated everything. I'm sorry. Not your fault. Isn't it? Charlotte's voice was bitter. If I hadn't been on that plane, if my company hadn't imploded, if I hadn't been running like a coward, the engines would have failed anyway, Jack said. You didn't cause this. Charlotte was quiet for a moment. Then, what you did up there, in that cockpit, that was the most extraordinary thing I've ever seen. I was just trying to get my daughter to Boston. You were trying to save everyone, and you did. Jack leaned against the wall, the exhaustion hitting him in waves. I don't feel like I saved anyone. I feel like I barely survived. That's because you're human. Real heroes never feel heroic. They just feel terrified and lucky. Jack looked at this billionaire in her wheelchair, this woman who'd lost everything and was somehow still here, still trying. Why are you really here? Jack asked. You don't know us. You don't owe us anything. Charlotte met his eyes. Your daughter saw me, really saw me. Not the wheelchair, not the scandal, not the money, just me. When's the last time someone looked at you and saw the real you? Jack thought about it, about the pity looks from teachers, the judgment from neighbors, the dismissal from employers who saw a janitor and stopped seeing anything else. I can't remember, he admitted. Exactly. Charlotte reached into her bag, pulled out a business card, handed it to Jack. I know you don't want charity, but I want to help. When you get Emily to Boston, call me. I have connections, doctors, specialists, people who owe me favors. Jack looked at the card. Charlotte Hale, CEO, except she wasn't CEO anymore. You don't have to. I know I don't have to. I want to, please. Let me do something good with what I have left. Jack pocketed the card. Thank you. No, thank you. You reminded me what courage looks like. Charlotte turned to leave. Jack stopped her. Charlotte. She looked back. That thing your daughter said, about crying helping the sad go away. Emily's not my daughter. I know, but what she said, it's true. You should let some of that sad go. Charlotte's eyes filled with tears. I don't know how. Neither do I, but maybe we can figure it out together. Charlotte smiled, a real smile, maybe the first genuine one in years. Maybe, she said softly. Then she was gone. Jack stood in the hallway, exhausted, overwhelmed, barely standing, but something inside him felt different, lighter, like maybe just maybe today hadn't destroyed him, maybe it had started to heal him. The next morning, Jack woke to cameras outside Emily's hospital room, news crews, reporters, everyone wanting a piece of the miracle dad story. Hospital security kept them at bay, but Jack could hear them, shouting questions through the windows. "Mr. Dawson, how does it feel to be a hero? Jack, what went through your mind when the engines failed? Mr. Dawson, is it true you haven't flown in 5 years?" Jack closed the blinds, sat with Emily, fed her breakfast, tried to pretend the world wasn't spinning into madness outside. Dr. Chen came in around 9. "The medical transport is ready, but Mr. Dawson, there's a problem." "What kind of problem?" "The FAA put a hold on the transport. They want more interviews, more statements. They're saying you're a flight risk." "A flight risk I saved." "I know, but until they clear you, we can't transport Emily out of state." Jack felt rage building, hot, sharp. "My daughter is dying. She needs to get to Boston. They can't." "I'm working on it," a voice said from the doorway. Charlotte, but not alone. Behind her stood a man in an expensive suit, lawyer written all over himself. "This is David Chen, my attorney," Charlotte said. "He's going to handle the FAA." David stepped forward, confident, professional. "Mr. Dawson, I've already filed motions with the FAA to lift the travel restriction. I've also contacted several congressmen who are very interested in your story. The FAA is going to have a hard time explaining why they're preventing a dying child from receiving medical care." "I don't want to fight them," Jack said. "I just want to get Emily to Boston." "Then let me fight them for you. It's what I do." Jack looked at Charlotte. "Why are you doing this?" "Because your daughter taught me something yesterday. She taught me that sometimes the only way to save yourself is to save someone else first." Before Jack could respond, Patricia, the flight attendant, appeared in the doorway. "Mr. Dawson, there's someone here to see you." "I'm not talking to reporters." "It's not a reporter. It's Commander Sarah Lynn, Air National Guard." Jack's breath caught. Sarah, his old squadron commander, the woman who'd fought for him after Afghanistan, the woman whose voice on the radio yesterday had given him the courage to try. "Send her in," Jack said quietly. Patricia left. A moment later, Sarah Lynn walked in. She looked older, gray streaks in her hair, lines around her eyes, but the same sharp intelligence, the same unwavering strength. "Jack," she said. "Sarah." They stood there, two old friends who'd lost touch, two warriors who'd survived different battles. Sarah broke first, crossed the room, hugged him. Jack hugged her back and felt something break inside him, something he'd been holding together with duct tape and denial. "I heard," Sarah said. "I heard what you did. You were there on the radio. I was. I vouched for you, told them to trust you, and you proved me right. I almost didn't try. I almost let them die." Sarah pulled back, looked him in the eye. "But you didn't. You stepped up, just like I knew you would." "How did you know I didn't even know?" "Because I know you, Jack. I've always known you. The trauma from Kandahar broke you, but it didn't destroy you. You're still the best pilot I've ever seen." Jack shook his head. "I'm not a pilot anymore. I clean toilets for a living. You're always a pilot, just like you're always a father, just like you're always a hero. You can't run from what you are." Emily stirred in her bed, opened her eyes, saw Sarah. "Who's that daddy?" "This is Commander Lynn, an old friend." Sarah approached the bed, smiled at Emily. "You must be Emily. Your dad's told me about you. He has, well, not directly, but I did some research. Heard you're pretty brave." Emily shrugged. "I just have a broken heart. Daddy says it's okay to be broken sometimes." Sarah glanced at Jack. Something passed between them, understanding, recognition. "Your daddy's right," Sarah said softly. "Being broken doesn't mean you're done. Sometimes broken things are the strongest." She turned back to Jack. "I need to talk to you about the FAA, about what happens next." They stepped into the hallway. Charlotte and David gave them space. "The FAA wants to make an example of you," Sarah said. "They're talking about pressing charges, operating without a license, unauthorized command of an aircraft. They're scared because you showed them their procedures don't cover every scenario. So what do? You fight? Or you let me fight for you? I've already contacted the Air Force Judge Advocate General. We're prepared to testify that what you did was necessary and heroic. We're going to argue emergency necessity. We're going to make this go away. Sarah, I can't ask you to. You're not asking, I'm offering. You saved 137 lives, Jack. You don't deserve to be punished for that. Jack was quiet for a long moment. Then, why? Why do you still believe in me after everything? Sarah's expression softened. Because I was there, Jack. I was there when you blamed yourself for Collins, for Martinez, for Chen. I watched you destroy yourself with guilt over things you couldn't control. And yesterday you proved that guilt doesn't define you. Courage does. I'm not courageous. I'm terrified. That's what makes you courageous. Terror plus action equals bravery. You taught me that, remember? Jack did remember. He'd told that to his students back when he was an instructor, back when he believed it. Maybe it was time to believe it again. Okay, Jack said. Tell me what to do. Sarah smiled. First, we get Emily to Boston. I've already arranged military transport. Medical flight leaves in 3 hours. The FAA can't block military operations. You did that. I made some calls, called in some favors. You're still one of us, Jack. The guard takes care of its own. Jack felt something rise in his throat. Gratitude, relief, hope. Thank you, he whispered. Tim whispered. Sarah squeezed his shoulder. Thank me by getting your daughter that transplant. And Jack, when this is all over, consider coming back. We need pilots like you. I don't have a license anymore. Licenses can be reinstated, especially for heroes. She left him standing in the hallway. Jack looked through the window, at Emily sleeping, at Charlotte in her wheelchair talking quietly with David, at the chaos of his life spinning into something he didn't recognize. And for the first time in 5 years, Jack Dawson felt something dangerous. He felt like maybe, just maybe, he deserved a second chance. 3 hours later, Jack and Emily were on a military medical transport headed to Boston. The plane was small, Spartan, nothing like the commercial airliner from yesterday, but to Jack, it felt like home. The crew treated them with respect, called Jack Captain even though he wasn't one anymore, treated Emily like a VIP. Charlotte had insisted on coming, said she had business in Boston anyway. Trevor had protested, but Charlotte shut him down with one look. Now they sat in the cargo hold. Emily strapped to a medical gurney, Charlotte in her wheelchair, Jack sitting on the floor beside them. You didn't have to come, Jack said to Charlotte. I know, but your daughter invited me, and I don't get many invitations these days. Emily smiled weakly. Pretty lady is my friend now. I am, Charlotte said, and friends stick together. The plane took off smoothly. Jack felt his heart rate spike, felt the memories trying to surface. Kandahar, fire, screaming. Emily's hand found his. It's okay, Daddy. You're not flying this one. Jack squeezed her hand. You're right, baby. But part of him wished he was. Part of him missed it, the control, the purpose, the feeling that he was exactly where he was supposed to be. Charlotte watched him. You're thinking about it, about flying again. I can't. My license is revoked. What if it wasn't? It doesn't matter. I have Emily to take care of. I can't just... What if you could do both? What if there was a way? Jack looked at her. But what are you talking about? Charlotte leaned forward. I've been thinking about what happens next. For both of us. You need to rebuild your career. I need to rebuild my life. What if we helped each other? Charlotte, hear me out. Before the scandal, I was working on a project, a pilot training program for underprivileged kids, aviation scholarships, flight schools in underserved communities. I had to shelve it when everything fell apart. But what if we brought it back? What if you ran it? Jack stared at her. You want me to teach kids to fly? I want you to do what you do best. Inspire people, save people, be the pilot you were always meant to be. I'm not that person anymore. Bullshit, Charlotte said. The profanity sounded strange in her refined voice. You were that person yesterday when you landed a plane with no engines. You were that person when you chose to step into that cockpit instead of staying with your daughter. You've always been that person. You've just been hiding. Emily tugged Jack's sleeve. I think you should do it, Daddy. You're really good at flying. Baby, I need to take care of you. You can do both. Dr. Reynolds said maybe I'll get my new heart soon, and then I'll be better, and then you can teach kids to fly like you. The simple faith in her voice broke something in Jack, or maybe fixed it. He looked at Charlotte. Why would you do this? You barely know me. Because yesterday, when everyone was panicking, you stayed calm. Because you saved my life. Because your daughter looked at me and saw a person worth saving. Because I need something good in my life. And I think you do too. Jack was quiet for a long time. The plane hummed around them. Emily fell asleep. Charlotte waited. Finally, Jack spoke. If we do this, if I agree, it's on one condition. What's that? You stop running. You face your scandal. You make things right. Charlotte's face went pale. Jack, you don't understand what you're asking. The lawsuits, the criminal charges, I understand perfectly. You want me to stop hiding from who I am? Then you stop hiding too. We do this together, honest, open, no more running. Charlotte looked at her hands, at the wheelchair, at all the ways she'd failed. Then she looked at Emily, sleeping, trusting, brave despite everything. Okay, Charlotte whispered. Okay, we face it together. Jack extended his hand. Charlotte took it, and in that moment, 30,000 feet above the earth, two broken people made a promise to each other, not to be perfect, not to have all the answers, just to keep trying. The plane touched down in Boston 3 hours later. An ambulance waited on the tarmac. Dr. Reynolds was there personally, older man, white hair, gentle eyes that had seen too many dying children. Emily Dawson, he said, I've been waiting for you. Emily smiled weakly. I'm here. So you are. Let's get you checked in. We have a lot of work to do. They loaded Emily into the ambulance. Jack started to follow, but Dr. Reynolds stopped him. Mr. Dawson, I need to be honest with you. Emily's condition has deteriorated significantly. The stress from yesterday accelerated her heart failure. We're looking at weeks now, maybe days if we don't find a donor. Jack felt the ground shift beneath him. Days? I'm sorry. I know this isn't what you wanted to hear, but I promise you we're doing everything we can. She's at the top of the transplant list. If a heart becomes available, she's next. And if one doesn't? Dr. Reynolds didn't answer. He didn't have to. Jack climbed into the ambulance, sat beside Emily, held her hand as they drove through Boston streets toward the hospital. Charlotte followed in her own vehicle, Trevor beside her, both of them silent. At the hospital, they settled Emily into pediatric ICU, hooked her up to monitors, started IV medications, made her as comfortable as possible. Jack sat beside her bed, watched her sleep, counted her heartbeats. Charlotte appeared in the doorway. Can I come in? Jack nodded. She wheeled beside him. They sat in silence for a while, just watching Emily breathe. She's so small, Charlotte said finally, so fragile, and yet so strong. She's stronger than me, Jack said, always has been. You don't give yourself enough credit. I give myself exactly the credit I deserve. I'm a failure who got lucky yesterday. You're a father who loves his daughter enough to do the impossible. There's a difference. Jack was quiet. Then what happens now with your company, with the charges? Charlotte took a deep breath. I called my lawyer this morning, told him I want to cooperate with the investigation. I want to make restitution to everyone we harmed. I want to face the consequences. That's brave. That's terrifying, but you're right. Running doesn't fix anything. It just delays the inevitable. What will you lose? Everything. The company, the money, my reputation, probably my freedom for a while. But maybe losing everything is the only way to find out what actually matters. Jack looked at her, really looked at her, and saw someone he recognized, Someone who'd lost everything and was learning to rebuild. Someone like him. "We're going to get through this," Jack said. "Both of us, together." Charlotte smiled, tears in her eyes. "Together." Emily stirred, opened her eyes, saw them both. "Are you guys friends now?" Jack and Charlotte looked at each other, then back at Emily. "Yeah, baby," Jack said. "I think we are." Emily smiled. "Good, everyone needs friends." Then she closed her eyes again, drifted back to sleep, and in that quiet hospital room, a janitor and a billionaire sat side by side. Both broken, both healing, both learning that sometimes the only way forward is together. Outside, the sun set over Boston. The world kept spinning, the news kept reporting, the FAA kept investigating, but inside that room, none of it mattered. All that mattered was a little girl fighting for her life, and two adults learning how to fight beside her. The first week in Boston, Jack didn't sleep. He sat beside Emily's bed in the ICU, watching monitors flash numbers that meant everything and nothing. Heart rate, oxygen saturation, blood pressure, numbers that said his daughter was still alive but barely hanging on. Dr. Reynolds came by every morning. Same routine, check the charts, listen to Emily's heart, shake his head just slightly. That tiny movement that screamed what his mouth wouldn't say. Still no donor, still running out of time. On day 5, Emily woke up crying, not the normal tears of a scared child, something deeper, primal, like her body knew something her mind wouldn't accept. "Daddy, it hurts." Jack was on his feet instantly. Hit the call button. "Where, baby? Where does it hurt?" Emily pressed her hand to her chest. "Everywhere. It feels like my heart is too big for my body." Nurses flooded in. Dr. Reynolds appeared within minutes. They adjusted medications, ran tests, did everything medical science could do. It wasn't enough. "Mr. Dawson," Dr. Reynolds said quietly, pulling Jack into the hallway. "We need to talk about options." "What options? You said she's at the top of the list." "She is. But a heart hasn't become available, and Emily's condition is deteriorating faster than we anticipated. We're looking at mechanical intervention now, a ventricular assist device, a bridge to transplant." "What does that mean?" "It means we surgically implant a pump to help her heart function. It's not a permanent solution, but it could buy us time." Jack felt something hollow out inside him. How much time? Weeks, maybe months. "But Mr. Dawson, you need to understand the surgery itself is risky. In Emily's current state, there's a real chance she won't survive the procedure. And if we don't do it..." Dr. Reynolds met his eyes. "Days, maybe less." The hallway tilted. Jack grabbed the wall for support. Days. His daughter had days. "How long do I have to decide?" "Hours. Her heart is failing rapidly. If we're going to do this, it needs to be today." Jack looked through the window, at Emily, at his brave, beautiful daughter who'd already fought harder than any child should have to. "Can I talk to her?" "Of course, but Jack, she's 6 years old. This isn't a decision she can make." "No, but she deserves to know what's happening." Jack went back inside, sat beside Emily's bed, took her small hand in his rough ones. "Baby, we need to talk." Emily looked at him with those old eyes. "I'm dying faster now, aren't I?" Jack's throat closed. "The doctors want to do a surgery, put a special pump in to help your heart work better. Will it fix me?" "No, but it'll give us more time to find you a new heart." Emily was quiet for a long moment. Then, "Will it hurt?" "Yeah, baby, it'll hurt, but you'll be asleep for the surgery. And after, we'll manage the pain, I promise." "What if I die during the surgery?" Jack felt tears burn his eyes. "Then I'll be right there with you, holding your hand. But Emily, you're not going to die. You're too strong, too brave." "I don't feel brave, Daddy. I feel scared." Jack pulled her close, careful of the wires and tubes. "Remember what the pretty lady said about being courageous? Scared people who do it anyway? Yeah, that's you, baby. You're the most courageous person I know." Emily buried her face in his chest. Okay, I'll do the surgery, but Daddy, yeah, promise you won't leave me. Never, I'm staying right here, I'm not going anywhere. He held her until the nurses came to prep her for surgery. In the waiting room, Charlotte found him. She'd been there every day, bringing coffee, sitting in silence, just being present. Trevor had returned to New York to handle the legal fallout, but Charlotte refused to leave. How is she? Charlotte asked. Scared. So am I. What did the doctors say? Jack told her. About the device, about the risks, about the days, not weeks timeline if they didn't try. Charlotte's face went pale. Oh, Jack. Yeah. They sat together, waiting. The surgery would take hours. After a while, Charlotte spoke. I got a call from my lawyer this morning. What did he say? The SEC is moving forward with criminal charges. Fraud, conspiracy, insider trading. I could be looking at 15 years. Jack looked at her. Are you guilty? Of some of it, yes. I knew what my executives were doing. I didn't stop them because it was profitable. That makes me complicit. What are you going to do? Plead guilty, cooperate fully, try to make restitution. David thinks we can negotiate the sentence down, maybe 5 years if I'm lucky. 5 years in prison. Better than 15. And better than running for the rest of my life. Jack was quiet. Then, I'm proud of you. Charlotte's eyes filled with tears. Why, I'm a criminal facing justice. There's nothing proud about that. You're taking responsibility. You're facing consequences. That takes courage most people don't have. I learned it from you, from Emily, from watching a 6-year-old face death with more grace than I've shown in 43 years of life. Before Jack could respond, a man in scrubs appeared. Mr. Dawson, I'm Dr. Patel. I'll be performing Emily's surgery. I wanted to talk to you before we begin. Jack stood. Is she okay? She's stable, but I need you to understand the risks. This surgery is complicated. Emily's heart is extremely weak. There's a significant chance of complications, bleeding, infection, stroke, and yes, death. What are her odds? Dr. Patel hesitated. Honestly, 60-40. 60% she survives, 40% she doesn't. 60-40. Those were terrible odds for the only thing that mattered in Jack's world. But if we don't do it, Jack asked. 0%. She won't make it through the night. Jack nodded slowly. Then we do it. We try. I'll take good care of her, I promise. Dr. Patel left. Jack sat back down, put his head in his hands. Charlotte put her hand on his shoulder. She's going to make it. You don't know that. No, but I believe it, and sometimes belief is all we have. The surgery took 6 hours. 6 hours of Jack pacing the waiting room, 6 hours of Charlotte sitting in her wheelchair, hands folded in prayer to a God she'd rediscovered through a dying child. 6 hours of hell. Other families came and went. Some received good news, some didn't. Jack watched them all, saw his future in their faces. At hour 4, Marcus arrived, Jack's brother, younger by 3 years. Still in his Air Force uniform, he must have pulled strings to get leave. Jack. Marcus grabbed him, hugged him hard. I came as soon as I could. How is she? Surgery. They're putting in a pump to help her heart. Jesus, Jack, I'm so sorry. Don't be sorry, just pray. Marcus sat with them, the 3 of them, janitor, billionaire, soldier, waiting for a little girl to survive. At hour 5, Jim Reeves showed up, the Vietnam vet from the plane, the man whose grandson Jack had saved in Kandahar. Mr. Reeves. Jack stood. What are you doing here? Heard about Emily on the news? Figured you could use some company. Jim sat down. My grandson Marcus, the one you saved, he's studying to be a doctor now. Pediatric cardiology, because of what you did. Wanted you to know that. Jack felt something break inside him. I didn't do anything special. You saved his life. That's pretty damn special. More people arrived as the hours passed. Patricia, the flight attendant, Captain Morrison, other passengers from Flight 227, people Jack had saved without knowing their names. They filled the waiting room, silent support, living proof that what Jack did mattered. At hour 6, Dr. Patel appeared. His scrubs were bloody, his face exhausted, but he was smiling. "Mr. Dawson." Jack stood, his legs barely held him. "She made it. The surgery was successful. The device is functioning perfectly. Emily's heart is getting the support it needs." Jack's knees gave out. Marcus caught him. The waiting room erupted in cheers. "Can I see her?" Jack managed. "She's in recovery, still sedated. But yes, give them about 30 minutes to get her settled in ICU. Jack couldn't speak, could barely breathe. He just nodded. Dr. Patel put his hand on Jack's shoulder. "Your daughter's a fighter. She coded twice on the table. Twice we brought her back. Most kids would have given up. She didn't. She's got a reason to fight," Jack whispered to it. "She's got me, and I've got her. And that's what saved her life today. Not the surgery, not the device. Love. Love kept her alive." 30 minutes felt like 30 years. When they finally let Jack into the ICU, Emily was surrounded by machines. Tubes, wires, the device humming quietly in her chest. She looked so small, so fragile, but alive. Jack took her hand, felt her pulse, strong, steady, better than it had been in months. "You did it, baby," he whispered. "You made it." Charlotte appeared in the doorway, tears streaming down her face. "Can I come in?" Jack nodded. She wheeled beside him, looked at Emily, at this child who'd changed both their lives. "She's beautiful," Charlotte said softly. "She's a miracle." "So are you." Jack looked at Charlotte. "I'm not a miracle. I'm just a dad who got lucky." "No, you're a father who refused to give up, who flew a plane with no engines, who sat here for 6 hours believing his daughter would survive. That's not luck. That's love. And love is the greatest miracle of all." Before Jack could respond, his phone buzzed. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer, but something made him. "Hello. Mr. Dawson, this is Agent Martinez, NTSB. We've completed our investigation into Flight 227. Jack's stomach dropped. "And we found the cause of the engine failure. Metal fatigue in the turbine blades. Manufacturing defect. Nothing you or the pilots could have prevented." "Okay. Mr. Dawson, we're recommending that the FAA drop all charges against you. What you did was textbook emergency procedure. You saved 137 lives. There's no violation here, just heroism." Jack felt something release in his chest. "Thank you." "No, sir, thank you. On behalf of everyone on that flight, thank you." Martinez hung up. Jack looked at Charlotte. "They're dropping the charges." "That's wonderful." Yeah, it is." But Jack felt numb. Relief mixed with exhaustion, mixed with fear that this was all temporary, that any moment something else would go wrong. Charlotte saw it in his face. "Jack, it's okay to be happy. It's okay to accept good news." "I don't know how anymore. Every time something good happens, something bad follows. My daughter almost died today. Again. And tomorrow, or next week, or next month, it might actually happen. Or it might not. Maybe her new heart is coming. Maybe this device buys enough time. Maybe isn't good enough." Jack's voice rose. Other ICU staff looked over. He lowered it. "Maybe isn't good enough when it's your child dying, when every day is borrowed time, when you're watching her slip away and there's nothing you can do." Charlotte grabbed his hand. "Then we do what we've been doing. We fight, we hope, we believe, because the alternative is giving up, and you didn't save 137 people just to give up on the one who matters most." Jack looked at Emily, at her chest rising and falling with mechanical assistance, at the daughter he'd do anything to save. "I'm so tired," he whispered. "I'm so tired of fighting." "I know, but you don't have to fight alone anymore. You've got me, you've got Marcus. You've got all those people in the waiting room who came here because you saved their lives. We're all here, fighting with you." Jack felt tears come. Finally. After 6 hours of holding it together, he broke. Charlotte held him while he cried. This broken billionaire in a wheelchair holding a broken janitor while his daughter fought for life. And in that moment, they weren't billionaire and janitor anymore. They were just two people who'd lost everything and found each other in the wreckage. 3 days later, Emily woke up, groggy, confused, but alive. "Daddy!" Jack was beside her instantly. "I'm here, baby. I'm right here." "Did it work?" "The surgery." "It worked. You've got a special pump helping your heart now." Emily touched her chest, felt the device humming. "It feels weird." "You'll get used to it. Dr. Reynolds says it's working perfectly." "Does this mean I get to go home?" Jack's smile faded. "Not yet. We still need to wait for your new heart. This just buys us time." Emily nodded, old beyond her years, understanding what Jack couldn't say. They might have time, but they didn't have forever. Charlotte visited every day, brought books, games, stories, anything to keep Emily's spirits up. On day 4, she brought news. "I met with the prosecutors today." Jack looked up from the book he was reading to Emily. "What did they say?" "They're offering a plea deal, 5 years in minimum security, full restitution to victims, cooperation with ongoing investigations." "Are you going to take it?" "My lawyer thinks I should. Says if we go to trial, I could get 15 to 20 years. "What do you think?" Charlotte was quiet for a moment. "Then I think I deserve more than five years. But I also think 5 years is enough to lose everything that matters. My freedom, my company, my reputation. Maybe that's justice." Emily tugged Charlotte's sleeve. "Are you going to jail, pretty lady?" Charlotte's eyes filled with tears. "Yes, sweetie, I did some bad things. I hurt people, so I have to face the consequences." "For how long?" 5 years. Emily thought about this. "That's a long time." "It is. But Daddy says sometimes people need time to think about what they did wrong, and then they can be better." Charlotte smiled through her tears. "Your daddy's very wise. Will you come visit me when you get out, when I have my new heart?" Charlotte's breath caught. "If I'm allowed to, yes. I'll visit you. Promise. I promise." Emily smiled. "Okay, then 5 years isn't so long, because I'll wait for you." Charlotte broke down. Jack had never seen her cry like this. Full, body-shaking sobs. Jack moved Emily's IV pole and put his arms around Charlotte, let her cry it out. When she finally stopped, she looked at him. How does she do that? How does a 6-year-old have more wisdom than I've gained in 43 years? Because she's lived her whole life knowing it might be short. She doesn't have time for anything except truth. Charlotte wiped her eyes. "I'm going to take the deal. 5 years, and when I get out, I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to be half the person she already is." "You're already getting there," Jack said softly. That night, Jack stood outside Emily's room, watching her sleep. Marcus appeared beside him. "How you holding up, brother?" "I don't know. Some days I think we're going to make it. Other days I'm terrified this is all temporary." "Emily's strong. She's going to get her heart." "You don't know that." "No, but I believe it. And sometimes belief is enough." Jack was quiet. "Then Sarah called me today. Said the Air Force wants to reinstate my flight status. Full honors. Clean record. That's incredible. Are you going to accept?" "I don't know. How can I think about flying when Emily would want you to? You know she would. It doesn't feel right. Accepting good things while she's fighting for her life." Marcus grabbed Jack's shoulders, forced him to look at him. "Listen to me. You saved 137 lives. You earned a second chance. Don't throw it away because you feel guilty about Emily's illness. Her heart condition isn't your fault. The plane crash wasn't your fault. Kandahar wasn't your fault. You need to stop punishing yourself for things you can't control." "I don't know how." "Then learn. Because Emily needs a father who's whole, not a father who's broken by guilt." Jack looked through the window, at his daughter, at the machines keeping her alive. "What if I fail again? What if I get my wings back and something goes wrong? Then you'll handle it, like you always do. But Jack, you can't live your life afraid of failure. That's not living, that's just existing. Jack knew his brother was right, had known it for years, but knowing and accepting were different things. I'll think about it, Jack said finally. That's all I'm asking. 2 weeks passed. Emily improved slowly. The device worked, her color returned, her energy came back in small doses, but still no heart. Dr. Reynolds checked the transplant list daily. Emily remained at the top, but hearts for children were rare. The waiting list was long, and time was running out. On day 17, Charlotte came to say goodbye. Her sentencing was scheduled for the next morning. After that, she'd be transferred to a federal facility in Pennsylvania. 5 years. She sat with Emily for hours, playing games, reading stories, laughing and crying in equal measure. Finally, when visiting hours were ending, Charlotte hugged Emily one last time. You be good for your daddy, okay? I will, and you be good in jail. Charlotte laughed through her tears. I'll try. And pretty lady, yes, sweetie, thank you for being my friend. Charlotte held Emily tight. Thank you for teaching me how to be human again. In the hallway, Jack walked Charlotte to the elevator. I'm going to miss you, Jack said. I'm going to miss you too, both of you. When you get out, and you will get out, the pilot training program is waiting. We'll build it together, like we planned. You really think I'll have anything left to build with? I think you'll have something more valuable than money. You'll have redemption, and that's worth more than all your billions combined. Charlotte smiled. When did you become so wise? I didn't. I'm just repeating what a 6-year-old taught me. The elevator dinged. Charlotte wheeled inside, turned to face Jack. Take care of her, and take care of yourself. You too. The doors closed. Jack stood alone in the hallway, feeling the weight of everything. The crash, the surgery, Charlotte's departure, Emily's uncertain future, and for the first time in years, Jack Dawson didn't feel like he was drowning. He felt like he was treading water, barely, but staying afloat. Sometimes that was enough. That night, Jack sat beside Emily's bed. She was awake, staring at the ceiling. Daddy, yeah, baby, do you think God forgot about me? Jack's heart broke. No, never. Why would you think that? Because I've been waiting so long for my new heart, and it's not coming. Maybe he thinks someone else deserves it more. Jack climbed into the bed beside her, careful of the wires, held her close. Listen to me. God didn't forget you. He's just waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect heart. And when it comes, and it will come, it's going to be exactly right. How do you know? Because I believe. Even when it's hard, even when I'm scared, I believe you're going to get your miracle. Emily buried her face in his chest. I'm trying to be brave, Daddy, but I'm so tired. Then rest, and let me be brave for both of us. Okay. Emily fell asleep in his arms. Jack held her, stared at the ceiling, and did something he hadn't done in 5 years. He prayed. Not the desperate bargaining prayers of a terrified father, but a simple, honest conversation with God. I don't know if you're listening. I don't know if you care, but I'm asking anyway. Please, please save my daughter, not for me, for her. She deserves to live. She deserves to grow up, to fall in love, to have children of her own. She deserves more than 6 years. So please, please send her a heart. Jack closed his eyes, and somewhere between prayer and sleep, he felt something. Peace, just for a moment. But it was there, and for the first time since this nightmare began, Jack Dawson believed. Not because he had proof, but because belief was all he had left. And sometimes that was enough. The call came at 2:47 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. Jack was asleep in the chair beside Emily's bed, his neck cramped at an angle that would hurt for days, his hand still holding hers even in sleep. The phone vibrated, once, twice, 3 times before Jack's brain registered the sound. He grabbed it. Unknown number, Boston area code. Hello, Mr. Dawson. This is Dr. Reynolds. I need you to wake up right now. Jack's heart stopped. What's wrong? Is Emily? Emily's fine, but we have a heart. A perfect match. Oh, negative. 6-year-old donor. Excellent condition. Mr. Dawson, we need to prep Emily for surgery immediately. Jack couldn't breathe, couldn't speak, couldn't process what he was hearing. Mr. Dawson, are you there? A heart, Jack whispered. You found her a heart. Yes, but we need to move fast. The organ is viable for approximately 4 hours from harvest. We're scheduling surgery for 6 a.m. That gives us time to prep Emily and assemble the team. Jack looked at his daughter, still sleeping, still dying, still fighting. We'll be ready, Jack said. Whatever you need, we'll be ready. I'm sending a team to her room now. Mr. Dawson, this is it. This is her chance, Dr. Reynolds hung up. Jack sat in the dark ICU room, shaking, crying, laughing, all of it at once. A heart. After 23 days of waiting, of watching Emily fade, of praying to a God he'd stopped believing in, a heart. Jack leaned over Emily, kissed her forehead. Baby, baby, wake up. Emily stirred, opened those tired eyes. Daddy, what's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Everything's right. They found you a heart. Emily blinked, processing. Then her eyes went wide. A real heart, a new heart, a real heart. They're doing surgery this morning. In a few hours, you're going to get your new heart, baby. Emily sat up, as much as she could with all the wires and tubes. Really, 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 really. She threw her small arms around Jack's neck. He held her, felt her body shake with sobs and laughter and hope. I'm going to get better, Daddy. I'm really going to get better. Yes, you are. I told you, Daddy's promises don't break. The ICU team flooded in within minutes. Pre-op procedures, blood work, consent forms, a choreographed dance of controlled urgency. Jack called Marcus. 3 rings, then a groggy voice. Jack, it's 3 a.m. What's... They found a heart. Emily's getting her transplant today. Silence on the line, then, oh my God, Jack, oh my God. Can you get here? I'm already getting dressed. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Jack hung up, called the one other person he needed to hear this. Charlotte's number went to voicemail. Of course it did. She was in a federal facility, no phone access except scheduled times. Charlotte, it's Jack. I know you can't answer, but I wanted you to know. They found Emily a heart. She's having surgery this morning. I wish you were here. Emily wishes you were here. We'll tell you everything when you can call. Thank you for everything, for believing when I couldn't. He hung up, wiped his eyes. A nurse appeared, young, efficient. Mr. Dawson, we need to move Emily to pre-op. You can walk with us, but then you'll need to wait in the surgical waiting area. How long will the surgery take? 6 to 8 hours. Dr. Reynolds will update you as we go. 6 to 8 hours. 6 to 8 hours between now and forever. They wheeled Emily down the hallway. Jack walked beside her, holding her hand. Daddy, I'm scared. Me too, baby. What if something goes wrong? Jack stopped walking, made the nurses stop. He leaned down, looked Emily in the eyes. Then I'll be right here, waiting, believing, fighting, but nothing's going wrong. You hear me? You're going to get your new heart, and you're going to live. You're going to grow up and fall in love and have babies and annoy me when you're a teenager. You're going to do all of it. Promise, promise. Emily smiled. Okay, I believe you. They reached the pre-op area. The nurses started to wheel Emily through the doors, away from Jack, toward the surgery that would save her life or end it. Emily looked back. I love you, Daddy. I love you too, baby, more than anything. The doors closed. Jack stood in the empty hallway, alone, and felt terror like he'd never known. Marcus found him 20 minutes later in the surgical waiting area. Jack was pacing, wearing a path in the linoleum. Jack. Marcus grabbed him, hugged him hard. Talk to me. What did they say? 6 to 8 hours. They're opening her chest now, removing the old heart, putting in the new one. If everything goes perfect. It will go perfect. You don't know that. Yes, I do. Because Emily's a fighter. Because Dr. Reynolds is the best. because God didn't bring you this far to let you fall now. Jack pulled away. Don't talk to me about God. God let 3 people die in Kandahar. God let Emily suffer for 6 years. God doesn't give a damn about us. Then why did you pray? Jack froze. What? Last night, you prayed. I saw your text to me yesterday. You said you were trying prayer again. So why, if you don't believe God cares, why pray? Jack sank into a chair. Because I had nothing else left. Because desperation makes believers out of atheists. Because I needed to feel like someone was listening, even if they weren't. Marcus bowed beside him. What if they were? What if God was listening? What if this heart, this perfect match that showed up exactly when Emily needed it? What if that's God answering? Or it's coincidence, random chance, biology? You really believe that? Jack didn't answer, couldn't out-answer, because the truth was complicated and messy, and he didn't know what he believed anymore. They sat in silence, waiting. At hour 2, Dr. Reynolds appeared, still in scrubs, face unreadable. Jack stood. What's wrong? Nothing, I just wanted to update you. We've removed Emily's old heart. The new heart is being prepared. Everything is proceeding as planned. Is she stable? She's on bypass. The machine is doing the work her heart can't do right now, but yes, she's stable. When will you put in the new heart? Within the hour. I'll update you again when it's in place, and we're testing function. Dr. Reynolds turned to leave. Doctor, Jack's voice cracked. Thank you for everything, for not giving up on her. Dr. Reynolds smiled, tired but genuine. I never give up on my patients, Mr. Dawson, especially not the fighters. And your daughter, she's the biggest fighter I've ever seen. Hour 3 passed, then 4. Jim Reeves showed up, then Patricia, then Captain Morrison. The waiting room filled with people from Flight 227, people Jack had saved, people who'd come to return the favor with their presence. You don't have to be here, Jack told them. You all have lives, jobs, families. Jim spoke for the group. You saved our lives. The least we can do is be here while you save your daughters. Morrison sat beside Jack. How you holding up? I've been better. You've also been worse. Remember the cockpit when you thought we were all going to die? You didn't break then. Don't break now. This is different. In the cockpit I had control. Here I have nothing. I can't fly this surgery. I can't land this miracle. I can only wait. Waiting takes more courage than flying. Any pilot can tell you that. Jack wanted to believe him, wanted to find courage in helplessness, but all he felt was fear. Hour 5. Dr. Reynolds appeared again. This time his face was different, concerned. Jack was on his feet before the doctor said a word. What happened? The new heart is in place, but it's not beating on its own. We're using electrical stimulation, but it's not responding the way we'd hoped. The room tilted. What does that mean? It means we're going to keep trying. Sometimes transplanted hearts take time to adjust. The shock of the new environment, the trauma of transplant. We just need to be patient. How long? As long as it takes. We're not giving up, Mr. Dawson, but I wanted you to know, it's not over yet. Dr. Reynolds left. Jack couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The new heart wasn't beating. Emily was on a table with someone else's heart in her chest, and it wasn't beating. Marcus grabbed his shoulders. Jack, look at me, look at me. Jack focused on his brother's face. She's not done fighting. The surgery's not over. Dr. Reynolds said they're trying. So we wait. We believe. We hope. I can't lose her, Jack whispered Brian. I can't. She's all I have. You're not going to lose her. You don't know that. No, but I believe it. And right now your belief is broken. So I'm believing for both of us. Jack collapsed into his brother. Let Marcus hold him while he shook. Around them, the people from Flight 227 formed a circle. Silent, supportive, holding space for Jack's fear. And somewhere deep in the hospital, on an operating table, Emily's new heart struggled to find its rhythm. Hour 6. Jack paced, prayed, cursed, begged, made promises to God he probably couldn't keep. Promised to be better, kinder, more faithful. Anything if Emily would just live. Hour 7. Still no word. Jack's phone buzzed, a number he didn't recognize. He answered anyway. Mr. Dawson, yes, this is Warden Miller from FCI Danbury. I have Charlotte Hale here. She's asked to speak with you. I'm making an exception given the circumstances. Put her through. A click, then Charlotte's voice, shaky, desperate. Jack, I heard. One of the guards saw the news. Emily's in surgery. Yeah, 7 hours now. The heart's in, but it's not beating right. They're still working on her. Charlotte's breath hitched. Oh God, Jack, I'm so sorry. I should be there. You're exactly where you need to be, facing your consequences. Emily would want that. I feel so helpless. Join the club. We're all helpless here, just waiting, praying, hoping. Is Marcus there? Yeah, and half the people from the plane, they all showed up. That's because you saved them, and now they're trying to save you. Jack's throat closed. I don't know if I can survive this, Charlotte. If she doesn't make it, she will. She has to, because that little girl taught me how to be human again, and I'm not done learning from her yet. I miss you, Jack said. Emily misses you. I miss you both too, more than I can say, but Jack promised me something. What? If Emily makes it through this, when she makes it through, you're going to accept that flight position. You're going to rebuild your life. You're going to stop punishing yourself for things you couldn't control. Charlotte, promise me. Jack was quiet. Then, I promise. Good. Now go. Be with your daughter and call me the second she's out of surgery. I will. Charlotte hung up. Jack looked at his phone. At the life he'd built from ashes, at the people who'd become family, at the possibility that everything could still fall apart. Hour 8. The waiting room had gone quiet, no one talking, just breathing, existing, waiting for news that would change everything. Jack stood by the window, watching the sunrise, thinking about Emily, about all the sunrises she deserved to see. Mr. Dawson. Jack turned. Dr. Reynolds stood in the doorway, still in scrubs, face impossible to read. Jack's heart stopped. Is she? She's alive. The world started again. The heart is beating, strong, steady, perfectly. It took time, took everything we had, but it's working. Emily's heart is working. Jack's legs gave out. Marcus caught him. The waiting room erupted in cheers and tears and prayers of thanksgiving. Can I see her? Jack managed. Not yet. She's in recovery. Still sedated. We need to monitor her closely for the next few hours. But Mr. Dawson, she made it. Your daughter, Beard. Jack couldn't speak, could barely breathe. He just nodded. Dr. Reynolds smiled. She's strong, strongest patient I've ever had. You should be proud. I am. God, I am. Dr. Reynolds left. Jack sank into a chair, put his face in his hands, and wept. Not tears of fear this time, tears of relief, of gratitude, of hope finally fulfilled. Marcus knelt beside him. She did it, brother. She really did it. Yeah, she did. Jim Reeves came over, put his weathered hand on Jack's shoulder. Your girl's a fighter, just like her old man. Patricia hugged him. Morrison shook his hand. One by one, the people from Flight 227 offered their congratulations, their support, their joy, and Jack Dawson, janitor pilot father, felt something he hadn't felt in 6 years. Complete. They let Jack see Emily 4 hours later. She was in pediatric ICU, ventilator breathing for her, chest bandaged, monitors everywhere, but alive, so beautifully, impossibly alive. Jack took her hand, felt her pulse, strong, regular, perfect. You did it, baby, he whispered. You got your new heart. You're going to live. Emily couldn't respond, still sedated, still healing, but Jack swore he felt her squeeze his hand. Dr. Reynolds came in. The next 72 hours are critical. We're watching for rejection, infection, complications. But so far, everything looks good, really good. When will she wake up? Tomorrow, probably. We're keeping her sedated to let her body adjust. But when she does wake up, she's going to have a long recovery ahead. Physical therapy, medications, regular monitoring. This isn't a cure, Mr. Dawson. It's a treatment. She'll need anti-rejection drugs for the rest of her life. She'll need to be careful about infections. She'll have limitations. But she'll live. Yes, she'll live, she'll grow up, she'll have a life. Not a normal life, maybe, but a life. Jack looked at his daughter, at the new heart beating in her chest, at the future she'd almost lost. That's all I ever wanted, Jack said. Just a chance for her to live. Well, she's got that now, thanks to a brave donor, a 6-year-old boy from Connecticut, car accident. His parents made the choice to donate his organs, saved 3 lives, including Emily's. Jack felt tears come again. I need to thank them. I need to. All in time. Right now, focus on Emily. Focus on recovery. The rest will come. Dr. Reynolds left Jack alone with his daughter. Jack pulled a chair close, took Emily's hand, and started talking. He told her about the people who came to wait with him, about Charlotte calling from prison, about Marcus believing when Jack couldn't, about the donor who gave her life. You're going to meet a lot of people who helped make this happen, baby, and I want you to remember them. Remember that miracles aren't just from God, they're from people. People choosing love over fear, choosing sacrifice over selfishness, choosing to give when they could take. Emily slept on, but Jack kept talking, kept believing, kept hoping, because that's what fathers do. They believe even when it's hard. They hope even when it seems impossible. They love even when it breaks them, and sometimes, just sometimes, that's enough. 2 days later, Emily woke up, groggy, confused, throat sore from the ventilator, but alive and aware and looking at Jack with those beautiful eyes. Daddy, I'm here, baby, right here. Did I get my new heart? Jack smiled through tears. You did. You really did. Emily put her hand on her chest, felt the bandages, felt the new heartbeat. Strong, steady, regular. It doesn't hurt anymore, she whispered. Daddy, it doesn't hurt. Jack lost it, completely broke down, because for 6 years Emily had lived with pain, with breathlessness, with the constant awareness that her body was betraying her, and now she was free. That's because you have a strong heart now, Jack said. A healthy heart. A heart that's going to let you run and play and live. Can I go to school? Eventually, when you're stronger. Can I play soccer? Dr. Reynolds appeared in the doorway. Let's start with walking and work our way up to soccer. But yes, Emily, you can play soccer. Emily's smile could have lit the city. Over the next week, Emily improved daily, off the ventilator, out of ICU, into a regular pediatric room, taking steps, eating solid food, being a kid again. Marcus visited every day, brought books and games and stories from his Air Force life. Jim Reeves came by, told Emily about his grandson Marcus, the one Jack had saved, the one who was studying to become a doctor because of it. Patricia brought stuffed animals, Morrison brought flowers, and every night Jack sat beside Emily's bed and thanked God for a miracle he'd stopped believing in. On day 10, Emily asked the question Jack had been dreading. Daddy, where's the pretty lady? Where's Charlotte? Jack sat on her bed. Charlotte's in jail. Remember, she did some bad things and now she's facing consequences. But she's coming back right in 5 years. Emily thought about this. That's a long time. It is, but she's being brave, just like you. Can we write her letters? Jack smiled. Yeah, baby, we can write her letters. That night, Jack helped Emily write her first letter to Charlotte. Dear pretty lady Charlotte, I got my new heart. It's working really good. The doctors say I can go home soon. I miss you. Daddy says you're being brave in jail. I'm proud of you. When you get out, I'm going to be big. Maybe I'll be 11 or 12. That's pretty old. I hope you still remember me. Love, Emily. P.S. Daddy says we can visit you sometimes. I hope that's okay. Jack mailed the letter the next morning. 2 weeks later, Charlotte's response came. Dear Emily, I got your letter. I read it about 100 times. I'm so happy you got your new heart. So happy you're getting better. I think about you every day, about your smile, about your courage, about the way you saw me when no one else did. I'll never forget you. Not in 5 years, not in 50. You changed my life. You taught me what really matters. And when I get out, I promise I'm coming straight to see you. We'll celebrate together. Be good for your daddy. Keep being brave. Keep fighting. And remember, courage isn't not being scared. It's being scared and doing it anyway. I love you, little one." Your friend Charlotte Emily read the letter every night before bed, and Jack realized something important. This story wasn't about a plane crash or a heart transplant or a billionaire facing justice. It was about broken people finding each other, about courage in impossible circumstances, about love being stronger than fear. It was about hope. And sometimes hope was all you needed to survive. 3 weeks after surgery, Dr. Tour Reynolds cleared Emily to go home. Home to Boston temporarily, to an apartment Marcus had found, close to the hospital for follow-up appointments. But home. The day they left the hospital, staff lined the hallways, clapping, cheering, celebrating a miracle they'd all worked to create. Emily waved at everyone, smiled that beautiful smile, alive, healthy, whole. In the car, Emily looked at Jack. "Daddy, what happens now?" Jack thought about the question, about the future stretching ahead, about flight positions and pilot programs and rebuilding a life, about Emily growing up, about Charlotte getting out, about second chances and new beginnings. "Now," Jack said, "now we live, baby. We just live." Emily smiled. "I like that." "Me too." They drove through Boston, toward home, toward healing, toward a future that had almost slipped away, and Jack Dawson, broken janitor, who became a hero, terrified father, who found faith, finally let himself believe. Not that everything would be easy, not that there wouldn't be challenges ahead, but that they'd survive, they'd fight, they'd keep going together. Because that's what love does. It keeps going, even when it's hard, even when it seems impossible. It keeps beating, just like Emily's new heart. Strong, steady, alive. 1 year later, Jack stood in front of 40 teenagers at a small airfield outside Boston. The building behind him was modest. Prefabricated metal, second-hand desks, computers donated by local businesses, nothing fancy, nothing that screamed money or prestige. But the sign above the door said everything that mattered. Wings for Tomorrow Aviation Academy, founded by Charlotte Hale and Jack Dawson. "Flying isn't about control," Jack said to the kids. All of them from neighborhoods where dreams came cheap and died young. All of them looking at him like he was crazy. It's about trust, trusting your training, trusting your instincts, trusting that when everything goes wrong, you can still find a way forward. A girl in the front row raised her hand. 16, tough exterior, eyes that had seen too much. "What if you freeze? What if you're so scared you can't think?" Jack smiled. "Then you remember why you're flying in the first place. What matters? Who matters? Fear is just noise. Love is the signal. You follow the signal." Another kid spoke up. "Is it true you landed a plane with no engines?" "Yeah." "How?" "By being more scared of failing my daughter than I was of dying." The kids went quiet, processing, understanding something deeper than aerodynamics or flight mechanics. Jack looked past them, to the single-engine Cessna on the tarmac, to Emily sitting on the wing, 9 years old now, healthy, vibrant, alive in ways she'd never been before the transplant. She waved at him. Jack waved back. Marcus appeared in the doorway. "Jack, you've got a call. Says it's important." Jack excused himself, walked to the small office they'd converted from a storage closet, picked up the phone. "This is Jack." "Mr. Dawson, this is Warden Miller from FCI Danbury. I wanted to inform you that Charlotte Hale is being released early. Good behavior. Restitution completed ahead of schedule. She'll be out in 3 weeks. Jack's heart jumped. 3 weeks? I thought she had 2 more years. The parole board reviewed her case. Exemplary conduct, full cooperation with investigators, significant restitution to victims. They approved early release. Does she know? We're informing her this afternoon. I thought you'd want to know first. She talks about you and Emily constantly. Shows everyone the letters. Jack smiled. Thank you for calling. Mr. Dawson, what Charlotte did, what she's doing, it's rare. Most inmates spend their time making excuses. She spent hers making amends. You should be proud of her. I am. Jack hung up, stood in the tiny office, trying to process. Charlotte was coming home, 3 years early. Coming back to a world she'd helped destroy and was now trying to rebuild. Emily appeared in the doorway. Daddy, you okay? Yeah, baby, really okay. Charlotte's getting out of prison early. Emily's face lit up. Really? When? 3 weeks. Can we visit her? Can we see her? Better than that. We're going to pick her up. Emily threw her arms around Jack. I can't wait to see the pretty lady again. Jack held his daughter, felt her strong heartbeat, the miracle that kept on beating. Me neither, baby, me neither. The next 3 weeks crawled by. Jack threw himself into the academy, teaching kids to fly, watching them discover something bigger than their circumstances, seeing hope take root in places where it had been absent. The program had started small, 10 kids, 1 plane, Jack as the only instructor, but word spread. Marcus helped recruit, former Air Force buddies volunteered time. Captain Morrison donated flight hours. Now they had 40 students, 3 planes, 5 instructors, waiting lists in double digits. Charlotte had funded it all before going to prison, set up a trust, appointed Jack as director, made it clear this was her redemption, her way of turning billions made from exploiting people into something that lifted them up instead. Sarah Lynn visited one afternoon, watched Jack teach, saw him come alive in the cockpit in ways he never had on the ground. You look happy, she said when he landed. I am. Turns out teaching kids to fly is better than therapy. Have you thought about my offer coming back to the Guard? Full reinstatement, flight pay, benefits. Jack had thought about it, a lot. The FAA had cleared him, restored his license, issued a formal commendation for his actions on Flight 227. The path back to military aviation was open. I appreciate it, Sarah, really, but this is where I need to be. These kids, this program, it's bigger than flying. It's about showing people their lives aren't over just because they started in the wrong zip code. Sarah smiled. Charlotte would be proud. I hope so. She's the one who made this possible. No, you both made it possible. She provided the resources, you provided the heart. That's partnership. Jack looked at the students, at Emily helping a younger kid understand thrust ratios, at the future taking shape. Yeah, he said softly. I guess it is. The day before Charlotte's release, Jack got a call from David Chen, Charlotte's lawyer. Jack, I wanted to give you a heads up. Charlotte's coming out to a very different world than she left. The media's going to be there, cameras, questions, it might be overwhelming. What's she asking for? Nothing. She won't even let me arrange a car. Says she wants to walk out on her own. But Jack, she's fragile. 3 years in federal prison changed her. She's not the same woman who went in. None of us are the same as we were 3 years ago. True, but I want you to be prepared. She's lost weight. Her hair's gone gray. She looks older, tired, and she's scared. Really scared about what comes next. We'll be there, Jack said. Emily and me, we'll be waiting. That's all she's asked for, to see you two first, before the lawyers, before the media, before any of it, just you and Emily. Then that's what she'll get. The next morning, Jack woke Emily before dawn. Come on, baby, we've got a drive ahead of us. Emily was up instantly. She'd laid out her clothes the night before, her best dress, the one she'd bought specifically for this day, purple, Charlotte's favorite color. They drove to Connecticut, 4 hours through early morning traffic. Emily talked the whole way about what she'd say to Charlotte, about how much she'd grown, about the academy, about her new heart. Do you think she'll recognize me, Daddy? I'm taller now. She'll recognize you. You're unforgettable. What if she's different? What if prison changed her? Jack thought about that, about how trauma changes everyone, how prison breaks some people and makes others stronger. Then we love her anyway, whatever she's become. We love her for who she is now, not who she was. Emily nodded, wise beyond her years, like you loved me when I was sick, even when I was different. Exactly like that. They arrived at FCI Danbury at 8:45 a.m., 15 minutes before Charlotte's scheduled release. The media was already there. Vans, cameras, reporters jockeying for position. Jack parked far from the circus. He and Emily waited by the car, watching the prison gates. At 9 a.m., exactly, the gates opened. Charlotte Hale walked out. David Chen was right. She looked different, thinner, grayer, older. The designer clothes replaced with simple jeans and a white t-shirt. No makeup, no jewelry, no armor, just Charlotte. Raw, real, human. The media swarmed, microphones, questions, chaos. Ms. Hale, how does it feel to be free? Do you regret your crimes? What's next for you? Charlotte ignored them. Her eyes scanned the crowd, looking, searching. Then she saw them. Jack, Emily, standing by the car, waiting. Charlotte's face crumpled. She pushed through the reporters, walking, then running. Emily ran to meet her. They collided in the middle of the parking lot. Charlotte dropped to her knees, held Emily, sobbed into her shoulder. "You're so big," Charlotte whispered. "So healthy, so alive." "I got my new heart," Emily said. "It works really good. I can run now and play and everything." "I know, I read all your letters 100 times each." Jack approached. Charlotte looked up at him, tears streaming. "Thank you," she said. "Thank you for being here." "Where else would we be?" Charlotte stood, hugged Jack, held on like he was the only solid thing in a spinning world. "I'm scared," she whispered. "I don't know how to do this. How to be free, how to face what I did. Then we'll figure it out together, like we always do." Charlotte pulled back, looked at both of them. "I don't deserve this, don't deserve you." Emily grabbed Charlotte's hand. "Daddy says nobody deserves love. They just get it. That's what makes it special." Charlotte laughed through her tears. "Your daddy's very smart." "I know," David Chen appeared. "Charlotte, we need to go. Press conference, legal briefings. You've got a full day." Charlotte looked at Jack, panic in her eyes. "We'll be right there with you," Jack said. "Every step. You're not doing this alone." "Promise, promise." The press conference was brutal. Reporters asking about the scandal, the victims, the restitution. Charlotte answered every question, honest, direct, no deflection. "I did terrible things. I hurt people. I prioritized profit over privacy, over humanity. I deserved every day I served in prison, and I'll spend the rest of my life trying to make amends." "What's next for you?" Charlotte looked at Jack, at Emily. "Redemption isn't a destination, it's a direction. I'm moving forward, trying to do better, be better. The Wings for Tomorrow Aviation Academy is just the start. I'm working with the federal government to create data privacy protections, real ones, strong ones, to prevent what I did from happening again." "Will you return to tech?" "No, my time as a CEO is done. I'm a convicted felon now. No board will have me. No investors will trust me, but that's okay. I don't need to run companies. I just need to help people." After the conference, they drove to Boston, Charlotte in the back seat beside Emily, holding her hand, listening to 3 years of stories compressed into a 4-hour drive. "The Academy's amazing, pretty lady. Daddy teaches kids to fly. And I help sometimes. I explain how wings work and lift and thrust. I'm really good at explaining." Charlotte smiled. "I bet you are." "And Daddy's not sad anymore. He still misses the people from Afghanistan. But he says helping kids fly helps him remember the good parts of flying, not just the bad parts." Jack caught Charlotte's eye in the rearview mirror. She mouthed 2 words, "Thank you." Jack nodded. They arrived at the academy at sunset. Charlotte stared at the building, at the sign with her name on it, at the planes on the tarmac. "We did it," she whispered. "We actually did it." "You did it," Jack corrected. "This was your vision, your money, your dream." "Our dream. You're the one who made it real." Marcus came out to greet them, hugged Charlotte, welcomed her home. "Got a surprise for you inside," he said. Charlotte looked at Jack. "What surprise? You'll see." They walked into the main hangar. Inside, over 100 people waited. Students, instructors, parents, donors, everyone who'd been touched by the academy. They erupted in applause when Charlotte entered. A girl stepped forward. 17, first in her family to graduate high school, first to get a pilot's license, first to dream beyond her circumstances. "Ms. Hale, I'm Maria. I was part of the first class. Because of this program, I got a scholarship to Embry-Riddle. I'm going to be a commercial pilot. I'm going to fly for the airlines. And it's because you believed someone like me could." Maria hugged Charlotte, then stepped back. One by one, students came forward, shared their stories, what the academy meant, how it changed their trajectories. Charlotte listened to each one, tears streaming, overwhelmed by the reality that her worst mistakes had somehow led to this, to hope, to futures, to kids who would have been forgotten finding wings. When the last student finished, Charlotte spoke. 3 years ago, I went to prison believing my life was over, that I'd destroyed everything that mattered, but I was wrong. My old life was over, the life of greed and power and control. That life deserved to die. But this, she gestured at the students, at the academy. This is a new life, a better life, a life where success isn't measured in dollars but in dreams. Thank you for giving me a second chance, for showing me what redemption looks like. The crowd applauded. Charlotte wiped her eyes, looked at Jack. "Can I see the planes?" Jack smiled. "Thought you'd never ask." They walked onto the tarmac, just Jack and Charlotte. Emily had been pulled away by friends. Marcus was handling the crowd. Charlotte ran her hand along the wing of a Cessna. "I never thought I'd see this. Thought I'd spend the next 2 years in prison, wondering if any of it mattered." It matters, more than you know. How many kids have gone through the program? 112. 43 have gotten their pilot's licenses. 27 are in college. 8 are in military flight training. We're changing lives, Charlotte. This doesn't work without both of us. My teaching, your funding, your vision, our partnership. Charlotte was quiet for a moment. Then, what happens now? What do you want to happen? I want to be part of this, really part of it, not just the money behind it. I want to work here, teach, help, whatever you need. Jack studied her. You sure this isn't glamorous work? It's long hours, difficult kids, slow progress, nothing like running a tech empire. I don't want a tech empire. I want purpose. I want to matter. I want to wake up every day knowing I'm making someone's life better instead of worse. Then welcome to the team. Charlotte smiled. Real, genuine. Thank you, Jack, for everything, for not giving up on me, for believing I could be better. You believed I could fly again when I didn't believe it myself. We're even. They stood together on the tarmac, watching the sun set. Two broken people who'd found healing in the most unlikely place. Can I ask you something? Charlotte said. Anything. Do you ever think about the people who died? The donor who gave Emily her heart, the 3 soldiers in Afghanistan, the life you lost. Jack was quiet for a long time. Every day, but I've learned something. You can honor the dead without being haunted by them. You can remember without being paralyzed. Emily's alive because someone else died. I'm alive because 3 others didn't make it. That's not survivor's guilt. That's responsibility to live well, to make their sacrifices mean something. How do you do that? By showing up, by teaching these kids, by loving Emily, by helping you rebuild, by choosing every day to be better than I was yesterday. Charlotte nodded. I want that. I want to choose better. Then you will. 6 months later, Wings for Tomorrow held its first graduation ceremony. 23 students receiving their private pilot licenses. 23 kids from neighborhoods where dreams came to die standing in front of families and friends holding certificates that said they'd conquered the sky. Charlotte stood at the podium. 3 months into her role as program director, No longer the billionaire CEO, now just Charlotte, mentor, teacher, friend. When I went to prison, she said, I thought my story was over, that I'd forever be defined by my worst mistakes. But these students taught me something. Your story isn't over until you stop writing it. You can't erase the past, but you can author a better future. Today, you're all authors. You're writing stories of perseverance, of courage, of refusing to let circumstances dictate destinies. I'm proud of you, all of you. Thank you for letting a broken woman be part of your beautiful stories. The families applauded. Students walked across the stage, received their licenses, hugged instructors, cried tears of joy and accomplishment. Emily was there, front row, cheering louder than anyone. After the ceremony, she found Charlotte. Pretty lady, that speech was really good. You think so? Yeah, Daddy says you're a natural teacher. I think he's right. Charlotte knelt down, looked at this 9-year-old miracle who'd saved her life without even knowing it. Can I tell you a secret? Always. You're the reason I'm here, the reason I survived prison, the reason I kept fighting, because if you could survive a dying heart and come out stronger, I could survive my mistakes and become better. You saved my life, Emily. Emily hugged her, and you saved mine by being my friend when I was scared. We saved each other then. Yeah, they held each other. 2 survivors, one who'd conquered a broken heart, one who'd conquered a broken soul. Jack watched from across the hangar, Marcus beside him. You did good, brother, Marcus said. We did good, all of us. Emily looks healthy, happy. Best she's ever been. Dr. Reynolds says her heart's functioning perfectly. No signs of rejection. She's a miracle. So are you. Man who swore he'd never fly again is now teaching the next generation. That's beautiful. Jack smiled. Turns out falling isn't the end. Sometimes it's the beginning. You just have to find a reason to get back up. What was your reason? Jack looked at Emily, at Charlotte, at the students celebrating, at the life he'd built from ashes. Love. Always love. That night the core group gathered at Jack's apartment. Jack, Emily, Charlotte, Marcus, Sarah Lynn, Jim Reeves, Patricia, Morrison, the family forged in crisis and strengthened through healing. They ate pizza, told stories, laughed until they cried. At one point, Emily stood up. I want to say something. Everyone went quiet. 3 years ago, I was dying. My heart was broken. I thought I'd never grow up, never have friends, never see my daddy smile again. But then the plane crashed, and Daddy saved everyone. And the pretty lady became my friend, and I got my new heart. And everything changed, not because of the heart, but because people loved me, really loved me, even when I was dying, even when there was no reason to hope. You all loved me anyway, and that's what saved me. Not the doctors, not the surgery, love. So thank you, all of you, for loving me when I needed it most. There wasn't a dry eye in the room. Charlotte stood, went to Emily, held her. We love you, little one, more than you'll ever know. Emily buried her face in Charlotte's shoulder. I know, I can feel it right here. She touched her chest, where her new heart beat strong and steady. I can feel it every time this beats. Later, after everyone left, Jack tucked Emily into bed. Daddy, yeah, baby. Are you happy? Jack thought about the question, about the journey, about losing everything and finding what actually mattered. Yeah, baby, I'm really happy. Me too. I'm glad the plane crashed. Jack's heart stopped. What? I'm glad we're all okay. But if the plane didn't crash, you wouldn't have flown again, and the pretty lady wouldn't have found us, and we wouldn't have the academy, and you'd still be sad. So I'm glad it happened, because it brought us here. Jack kissed her forehead. You're wise beyond your years, you know that. I had a good teacher. Who? You, Daddy, always you. Jack turned off the light, stood in the doorway, watching his daughter sleep, the miracle that kept on beating, and he realized Emily was right. The crash wasn't the end. It was the beginning of healing, of redemption, of second chances, the beginning of everything that mattered. 1 year later, Jack stood on the same airfield. watching Charlotte teach a new class of students. She'd found her calling, found peace, found purpose in showing broken kids they could still fly. Emily ran up, 10 years old now, full of energy and life. "Daddy, can I go up with Miss Charlotte? She's taking some students for their first flight." "Did you ask her?" She said, "Only if you say yes." Jack looked at Charlotte. She smiled, gave him a thumbs up. "All right. But you listen to everything she says, and you stay safe." "I will." Emily ran to the plane, climbed in beside Charlotte, buckled up. Jack watched them taxi, watched the Cessna lift off, watched his daughter experience the sky for the first time, and he felt something complete inside him, something that had been broken for so long he'd forgotten what whole felt like. Marcus appeared beside him. "Beautiful, isn't it?" "Yeah, it really is. You ever regret leaving the Guard, coming here instead?" Jack thought about it, about the life he could have had, the career, the prestige, the wings. "No, this is where I'm supposed to be. Teaching, healing, loving, this is enough." "More than enough, brother. You're changing the world. One kid at a time." "We all are. That's the beauty of it. We're all broken people who found each other and decided to build something beautiful from the wreckage." They watched the plane circle, watched Emily's face pressed to the window, watched her experience wonder. "You know what the best part is," Marcus said. "What, 3 years ago, you couldn't even look at a plane without having a panic attack. Now you're teaching the next generation to fly. That's not just recovery, Jack, that's resurrection." Jack smiled. "Maybe, or maybe it's just love. Love strong enough to overcome fear, to overcome trauma, to overcome everything that tries to keep us grounded." The plane landed. Emily jumped out, ran to Jack. "Daddy, Daddy, I flew, I really flew. Miss Charlotte let me hold the controls and everything." Jack scooped her up, held her, felt her strong heartbeat against his chest. "I'm proud of you, baby. I want to be a pilot, just like you. I want to teach kids to fly." "Then that's what you'll do. Whatever you dream, you can do it." Charlotte walked over, face flushed with joy. "She's a natural, steady hands, good instincts, fearless." "She gets that from her mother," Jack said quietly, then corrected himself. "And from her donor, and from everyone who loved her back to life." Charlotte put her hand on Jack's shoulder. "We did good, didn't we, all of us? We fell, we crashed, we burned, but we got back up, we flew again." "Yeah, we did." They stood together, father, daughter, friend, family forged in fire and refined by love. Above them another plane took off, another student experiencing flight for the first time, another dream taking wing, and Jack Dawson understood something profound. He'd spent 5 years running from the sky because he'd lost 3 people in it. Spent years believing flying was about control, about mastery, about never making mistakes. But he was wrong. Flying was about trust, about believing even when you couldn't see the runway, about having faith that when you fell, something would catch you. Love had caught him. Love had caught Emily. Love had caught Charlotte. Love had caught them all. And now they were catching others, lifting them up, showing them that broken wings could heal, that fallen pilots could fly again, that no one was beyond redemption. Emily tugged his hand. "Daddy, what are you thinking about?" Jack looked down at his daughter, at the miracle beating in her chest, at the future she almost lost. "I'm thinking about how we only find our wings after we fall, how sometimes the best landings come after the hardest flights, how love is stronger than fear, and how I'm the luckiest dad in the world." Emily hugged him. "I'm lucky too, because I got you, and Miss Charlotte, and my new heart, and everything." Charlotte joined the hug. "We're all lucky because we found each other." They stood there, 3 broken people made whole, 3 fallen souls who'd learned to fly again. And in that moment under a sky they'd all conquered in different ways, Jack Dawson finally understood what miracle really meant. It wasn't the plane landing safely, wasn't the heart transplant succeeding, wasn't any single moment. It was all of it. Every choice, every struggle, every moment of courage when fear said quit. It was love refusing to let go, even when everything else fell apart. It was hope surviving when logic said die. It was broken people becoming beautiful. The sun set behind them, painting the sky in colors that promised tomorrow, and Jack Dawson held his daughter close, stood beside his friend, and watched the next generation take flight. Because that's what survivors do. They don't just heal, they help others heal too. They don't just fly again, they teach others how. They don't just survive, they transform survival into purpose. And sometimes, if they're really lucky, they discover that the greatest miracle of all isn't the landing. It's everything that comes after, the living, the loving, the flying, the beautiful, impossible, ordinary miracle of choosing hope every single day. Emily looked up at her father. "I love you, Daddy." Jack smiled, tears in his eyes, joy in his heart. "I love you too, baby, more than all the sky." And somewhere between earth and heaven, a janitor who became a hero, a dying child who found life, and a billionaire who discovered her soul stood together. Not broken anymore, not fallen, just flying, always flying, together.